What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hello.
I never broke eye contact with the camera when I caressed you.
I didn't need you to.
First time of 2018, you know what I'm saying?
I don't need sight to know that you love me. You know what I mean?
I do.
I felt it in your touch, in your hands.
Yeah.
And in the heat of your breath as it was coming out of your mouth.
Last night, I want you to know that I was in bed and I started thinking about you in the MCU interview when you and I started laughing. And General Lur's like, "What are you laughing at?" I tried to explain it. Over there, the pure one at Tim Gettys.
Let him host.
And joining us once again, friend, no, family, the dragon, SisQo.
Yes.
Welcome home, SisQo.
Welcome home.
Ha! Ha! Finally, the dragon has come back to Kind of Funny.
Yeah.
What brings you to San Francisco?
I got a show tomorrow.
That's
at,
awesome.
10:15.
10:15.
SF, is it called?
Folsom.
Yep. That's what it is.
Congratulations on the Christmas album.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
That was awesome.
Drew
Been
Hill.
getting a lot of, Drew Hill. Make sure you download that Drew Hill app, free app. Tells you everywhere we're going to be. We're somewhere different every week. People really like the album.
Yeah.
They like the video. They like my baby beard.
Yeah, I got a baby
You guys are
beard
both
too.
bringing the
Team
beard
baby
Team
beard.
baby beard.
Now,
You got a man beard.
Now, Greg, you seem to be good. Greg, I need to give you some advice. 'Cause
Give
you
me
knew-
some
you're
advice
new
on
to
the beard.
This whole
Give me-
beard world.
Yeah.
Wait. This is like a month and a half.
It's nice, though.
Yeah,
It looks
like-
good.
It looks good.
I know. I drew some of this. Like most of this. Is kind of,
Using eyeliner, Sharpies out there, you're like filling it in.
Yeah.
The thing that you need to learn.
Shut
up.
So first off, you're now in the world of eating and getting food stuck in it. Have you had to deal with that yet?
God, no.
It's not done yet.
No, I haven't got any
you're
food in there.
close.
I got
dude.
something
You're
stuck in
I
it.
do the thing right
close.
now where if I move my tongue to the sides, I touch them, and that's weird.
Got it. See,
Yeah.
that's the beginning.
Okay.
Eventually, when you eat your yogurt, it's gonna be all up in there.
Soup
You're
catcher.
gonna have to start checking yourself.
Soup strainer.
But the thing that I need to tell you is
Soup
you
strainer.
need to start using aftershave down
Oh, yeah?
here. Down here when you clean it up,
Yeah.
because then or else you're gonna get the red rashes. You know what you can do?
What's that?
DollarShaveClub.com.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah,
God.
seriously though, their stuff's super good and it gets rid of it because I've noticed you've been having the.
But we're not sponsored by them. But
No, we're not. But
Okay.
I
So
use it all the
I'm
time.
being very clear for the audience.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want them to come at you,
fan of
come
it.
at SisQo.
but let's be clear. If you pleasure your woman, it's going to be there.
Wow.
That is
I imagined that to be correct.
That is
It
nature's
is.
moisturizer.
The next
moisturizer.
Nature's more. Do I rub that around my neck?
Yeah, well, you rub that around your neck. You just kind of get it like a scarf.
Welcome to
Kicking it
2018,
off.
everybody.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, this
No
is the
fear.
Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing you a random topic and a conversation for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can get each and every episode early. How early, SisQo?
Super early.
You can be watching it right now via a private link for just $1.
I don't know why you put people on the spot like that.
What? No, he listens to the show. He knows how to roll
That's
with the
fair.
punches.
That's
Calm
fair.
down.
Yeah, but the thing is, when people listen to the
I
show,
get
they
terrified.
know how they
get-
consume.
I'm
You know what
in the
happens?
show.
You know what happens? Your
And I can't keep up with
velvety
it.
voice
Yeah.
puts you in somewhat of a trance.
Yeah.
He really does.
I kind of was daydreaming a little bit just now, but
Yeah.
snap
We're
right
all
back in. I'm
thinking
back.
about,
You're just ready for the,
which we nailed, by the way.
I want put this into the idea bin. All right.
Okay.
I want to do a video where my velvety voice, I sit there and I just talk, and then Andy comes up like one of those snakes that dances. That's a video. That's a video right
Can
there.
I also throw this into the video I do while I'm
Where?
typing while I'm here?
Yeah.
Can we do a video where you and I do a podcast, but it's just extreme close-ups on our beard mouths?
Done. That's another one.
Okay.
We got a new show, right, guys?
That's actually a good video.
when I was making the intro for the MCU and review show where I redid the Marvel Studios intro with the red and all the flashing stuff, I had to use a bunch
Well
of
done,
pictures
by
of
the way.
us. Thank you. I really like it. And I had to use a lot of the headshots that we have, and the pictures are huge. They're like 5,000 by 5,000
Yeah.
resolution. So when I pull it in, it's just super zoomed in, and every single time a picture of Nick comes up, it's just his mouth, and it's just nasty. Like it looks like a lot of things.
For the longest time, I wanted to do just like I wanted as part of Nick at Night. If I want to play music and just have it be this part of me as I sing along to it.
That's awesome. That's a
All
great
I wanted
idea.
to do.
That's
I wanted
another.
to- but
We have a lot
only
of show
Taylor
ideas.
Swift songs and Katy Perry songs.
Sure.
And
After
a little
you
Gaga.
pleasure your lady.
After I pleasure my lady.
If you don't want to give us $1, you can give us 5 or 10 and get the episode as audio or video early on Friday. That's when it comes out. Patreon.com/kindoffunnyfriday. If you don't want to give us any money, though, no big deal. You can wait till the next week when we just posted as one big video the following Friday on youtube.com/kindafunny. Yes, if you missed Kinda Funny Day 2018 and all of our new announcements for shows, ideas, and stuff, you might have missed the fact that we are redesigning the Game Over Greggy show. No more topic by topic shows. Still, we bring topics to the table. That part's still here. I never did the. Did I do this?
You
table?
did. We nailed it.
God, I put myself in a trance. I put myself in a trance. No more topic. Just one big show. We feel it facilitates the conversation better. We no longer have to be like, well, we got to cut somebody off, or are we going too long, or this, that, or the other, or the episode is with SisQo, part 1, part 2, part 3. We can give you better headlines, better titles, and we can talk about the things we really care about. Of course, the
time codes.
We have time codes now as well in the description. You'll be down there. Remember, also, we do a pre and a post show for the show we record when we're live streaming it like we are right now. And let me tell you, this one was a complete disaster as the switcher died.
It was like, what,
30-minute
That's
pre-show.
what happened. That is what happened.
30-minute pre-show of us trying to figure out why the video kept cutting out. But it's good content. You used to only be able to consume that live if you were watching while we recorded. We've now added that to the video tier on the early episodes Friday. So more show for your buck. We're trying to make Patreon totally worth your money. It's one of the reasons we're doing so many cool things like my comic book show. But I digress. That's up on theirs.
I'm glad you explained that because I was a little confused.
Did it make sense now?
But now I get it.
Okay, good. SisQo, thank you for being a fan.
Hey, man, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
You text me all the time. You legitimately listen to the show and then text me like things that happened on it from that week's show. And I'm like, that's a guy right there. I like
good.
him.
It's good, man. It's good to know, that people are out there listening to the content and when stuff is funny. I feel like because funny is not easy, and when you do it right, it can bring some joy to your day. I travel a lot, and so when I'm there, spend a lot of time alone. Unless my cousin with me. Shout out to Jamal.
Hey, Jamal.
What, Jamal?
Yeah, man, I feel like I'm right there with you guys. I put it on when I'm taking a shower or shit, trimming up the old baby beard.
Yeah.
I like
Now,
that.
did you buy a special razor for the baby beard? I feel like I have to buy a special razor.
I feel like I need a smaller razor now.
What? No, Dollar Shave Club.
Now here's I'm gonna put this out
beard
for both of you
aficionados.
guys. I'm gonna put out both of you guys. I have a beard guy. Okay, when I get my hair cut, I get my beard trimmed as well. Sometimes I take a little off myself if it's getting a little too, weirdly growing out. But the last time I got this look,
Yeah.
the guy was like, "Hey man, I just want you to know."
Nice, by the way.
Thank you, I appreciate it. He was like, "Hey, I just want you to know." Like, he made me wait an extra 30 minutes, which I was like, "I'm fine with it. Doesn't matter." But he's like, "You're an awesome customer, and as a Christmas present, I'm gonna give you a straight razor shave and also like a thank you for like waiting around." And so he trimmed the beard up. And then he got out the straight razor.
Oh, snap.
Lathered up the
Godfather
and
style.
just went down and I was like, "Ugh, this is the best thing ever." I thought I was gonna freak out because I was like, I don't like things
with
near,
the
like,
warm
yeah.
blade.
Oh god, it was amazing. So I'm just saying,
Like
if
butter.
you got a
It's like
guy that'll
butter.
do that for you, it can be a very relaxing and positive experience. It's fun because there's so few things that
Right, guys,
like,
not Kevin. I'll tell you
No,
that.
Kevin wants to.
That is an
has a
opinion.
straight
That is an
razor.
opinion. I
And
have a
Kevin
straight
no longer has a straight razor. You can fill in the blanks.
I still have a straight razor.
Do you use it still?
It won't sharpen it. I don't know. I've got it
You
professionally.
got to get a
honed.
leather strap. I see
I
them do that
have a
all the
leather
time.
stroke.
What
That's
are
they're
the
called.
chances
He has
that
a leather
Paula-
stroke.
that Paula
So do
snuck
I,
in,
Kev.
took out the straight razor,
So
put it in
do I.
plastic straight razor instead, and Kevin just hasn't noticed that it's not real steel.
See, I don't fuck with the beard guy. Did the beard guy once? I don't. Maybe it's just I don't have a thick enough beard to.
Well, you gotta
to
work
have
with
that
the
be
guy.
Worth it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I did just go
You don't.
one
You
time.
usually keep your beard that short, which is probably one length.
But the thing is,
Well,
for you, Greg,
Yeah.
He's got to feel me out.
just get one of those electric razors, and then you just need to find the number you like, and then it's once every 2 to 3 weeks, do a little cleanup.
Now wait, how big?
See,
do you
all
wanna
I'm
get,
talking about is this. I don't like the hairs encroaching up here. I'm not even worried about the girth of the actual
that's easy.
beard.
Then no joke, dollarshaveclub.com.
Okay.
Like that's just get a normal razor.
Okay.
And then you just clean up here. There.
No, you
and down
mean.
there.
I apologize. I just stuck my finger down your throat. Like, I got my fucking hand. You mean these right here, right?
Well,
and
yeah,
the
but
sides.
like the sides here, where I got the little ones creeping up the sides, and then when they creep down the
Oh,
neck.
so you don't care about the mouth?
Well, I will eventually, but I'm like, guys, I'm talking about the problems I have and know now.
I have 4 different
razors?
Razor
Of course you do, Tim.
things.
Is one of
they
them
are.
4K?
Let me.
Is one of them like
They all
OLED
have
4K?
Wi-Fi. So here's the thing. There's just the Dollar Shave Club razor, the normal razor, right? But that is first you go in with the electric razor to trim everything, get all the.
I set it to like your hair. You set it to
It's the
no,
exact same
okay.
thing. Get the girth to the right place. Do that. Then you go in and clean up to make the line clean, the top and bottom line with the Dollar Shave Club razor. The other two, those are the more for your time about specific things, I have one that's like it's kind of like a pencil that you
Okay.
just go into like just get the shit off your lip.
Okay. Okay.
And like if there's annoying nose hairs, like when you start
yeah.
feeling you don't like it, or like these things, you can get rid of them with that, and it's like more of a fine tuning thing.
Okay.
And the last one is this weird shit you just stick up your nose and gets rid of the nose hairs.
Oh, I have a nose hair trimmer, please.
Then you're
Now,
good.
see, but
That's it.
Cisco's
That's
is a
all you
lot
need,
more
folks.
defined, right? Like you get
because
a definitive line.
well, see, I
in it.
cut my own hair, so
Yeah.
I did that, right? But this is like 2 months, dude. So
It's good, though.
If I cut just a little bit off, it's a wrap. I got to wait another 2 months to get
it's
that.
good. It's better that than me. If I let this go for 2 months, it will take over my head, and we'll have to fight to get it back. We'll have to bring some
Weed
sort of
whackers.
military organization back in.
We're doing the thing where you light that flamethrower, just kicks all the stuff out.
You guys have seen when I would let it go. Like it just
It
goes,
gets, oh yeah,
it just looks like
it gets full.
a big like microphone poofy thing on my face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
mine
the
gets
thing.
curly too quick. I like it when it's a bit
What?
more.
You
just
got the
like-
curly beard?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's my thing is I believe that if I were to just let it go out and I got a beard guy, mine'd end up looking like
You
that.
could.
But that
Because
requires years
but
of
they
perseverance.
get it thicker. What he does is he trims it down on the sides and leaves just a little bit of length here.
that's nice.
So it kind of gets a little bit of a point to it, which serves two purposes. One, I think it looks sculpted, and two, makes my face look skinnier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Which
but
I
look
like.
at my cousin, man. We got like naked face. Like we don't
But you guys are.
naked
That's
face.
good though. I'm telling you, you have a beard.
It's coming
you walked
in,
in, I was
it's
like,
coming
oh.
in, it's coming
I
in.
looked at you, I was like, Cisco has a beard.
Oh,
You're a
okay.
beard. It's not like
If
you're.
you
The
made an
ladies-
avatar in a video game, it would need a beard.
yeah.
Awesome. The
So you
ladies
did it.
seem to like it, so I guess we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
And this is gonna be
That's it.
good, brother. When you get
I am not prepared for your hand to always be there when I turn left. Just oh no, not the snake, not the python. You know I hate the python.
He totally just touched his balls too.
I did.
No, I'm just
I did. I peed. I got
That's
coffee.
people have been hitting me
peed
up
and I
since
got
your
coffee.
last Game Over Greggy show about when I handed you the phone. I'm like, that's been in the toilet. And you're like, why'd you hand me this phone?
That was a horrible story.
That was a great
That
story.
wasn't
That
even
was a
part
great
of the
story.
story.
It was the start of the story, wasn't it? I don't even remember.
No, but
what-
why was it?
I don't know. I don't know. what
You
I
said,
said.
"Hold this. It's gonna matter." And then it never mattered that he was holding
It never
the phone.
mattered except for that
Yeah.
it was in the toilet.
You
Well,
could've just
that's
told
why
him-
it mattered, because it was in the toilet. I was building up to something. I
Damn,
dropped the phone in the
toilet humor.
urinal. There you go. Toilet humor. Yeah, I see what you did.
It's only time.
Cisco, what's new in your life?
Every day somewhere different. I mean, every week somewhere different.
Yeah.
We're going down to do that show tomorrow here.
Yeah,
SF.
10, 15 full.
Then I go home for a couple of days.
Are there
and
tickets still available for that, or are you guys sold out?
Tickets, if you want to come, just say.
Oh, I mean,
hey,
for the
we're
people
going.
that are watching.
Oh, well, I mean,
If
hey,
you're live right now or
It
watching
might be
this
a
on
couple.
Patreon in the morning,
It might be a couple.
Let's
Okay.
Cisco. Let's pimp it
You
out.
know, because I perform with Drew Hill a lot, and then sometimes I do SisQo shows. And
So
then
what is tomorrow then? Are you-
tomorrow's a straight up SisQo show.
Love it.
And I added some new bells and whistles for the new year.
Love it.
And then next week we perform on a '90s cruise.
that's
fantastic.
awesome.
Is that
Yeah.
you and Drew Hill, or is that you?
No, that's just me.
Okay, cool.
With who we on there with, yo? Everybody from back in the day.
Salt and pepper? What?
Salt and Pepper.
Coolio?
Kid and Play Cooking with Coolio is supposed to
Wait,
be
hold
a
on.
thing.
That sounds like gimmick infringement.
No, it's on the boat though. I don't think he does it off the boat.
Okay, he's in international waters. I can't come at him. I got you. Yeah, okay. He's out there with his trademark
I
infringement.
like to believe that somewhere Coolio is like, guys, I can't do my set yet. The souffle's not ready. Like, that'd be amazing.
And then I think Ice. I think Ice is on there.
Oh my
Vanilla
god!
Ice.
No
Ain't
shit.
he on there? Yeah, I think he on it. Yeah,
oh my god,
he's cool people. You got
See,
to
I love that
party.
you say
You got to
ice,
party
and
with
I'm like,
Ice.
I
Ice
wanna
Cube,
party with
Ice Tea.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ice. Like,
I
there's a lot of ices going on in the 90s.
All of
don't-
them acceptable, by the way. I would party with any one of those people.
Me
you just
too.
named.
Me too. I don't think I'm. No, I met Ice Cube. From the West Coast, I only met Snoop Dogg. Love Snoop Dogg. Shout out Snoop Dogg.
That's awesome. That cruise is going to be rad. We should
That's
have
gonna
gone.
be fun.
Yeah.
Where's
I
that
should have told y'all.
Where's that embarking out of? Is that coming out of here, or is that
I
a different?
don't know.
Okay.
I pretty much just.
Oh, it's Miami. Okay, so
Oh,
it's totally
okay.
East Coast. Scott. I was gonna say because if it's anywhere in California, we're gonna try to get on this cruise. We're gonna try to like
dude.
splinter cell onto this cruise. You know, climb up the anchor. Did they
Hey
do that in
man,
Splinter Cell?
that's what I
Am
keep
making that
telling
up?
you guys to get the Drew Hill app. Type in DRU Hill. Go to the App Store or a Google Play. I think.
The thing for me is I don't want to impose.
You're not
I don't want to be like,
imposing.
hey, I
You
want
guys
to
are-
come to like
Greg
my
just
wife and I
said we're
talk about
family,
you all
man.
the time. I know,
Family.
but my wife and I talk about you all the time. She's like, when are you gonna hit Cisco up so we can go see a show? I'm like, I don't. because it's weird. You're a busy guy. I don't want you to have to like tell someone, and then it has to, like someone has to take care of me.
Jamal, just put your names on the list.
Way cooler than me, though. I don't want to bother him either.
Nick's intimidated to talk to Jamal.
I feel the same way, man. Like when you know somebody that like that does something in a specific industry. Like I was telling you about my cousin off camera. He don't like me to tell anybody where he works. So he works in the big black building or the big white building.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's like you don't want to feel like you're infringing on anybody.
I'm the exact opposite.
But I still
hey,
totally,
Xavier Woods, can you get me into this show you're not even a part of? I guess.
Exactly. Shout out to Xavier.
Hell yeah.
He's about to win the belt or something, right?
Hell yeah.
Dude, they're building up to it, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Doesn't he
for
have a
them.
kind of funny belt? No,
He's the commissioner. He's the commissioner.
The commissioner. He beat me for that.
Hey, man,
Oh,
He did, unfortunately. That was sad. We apologize about
it's
that.
kind of
I was
his
rooting
thing,
for
though.
you.
It makes
maybe at KF prom you can wrestle him for it.
I can wrestle him?
To be fair,
I think
we
not.
don't try to book him to come sing at our shows. So you're our number one call
As
for
a
that.
singer, he's a great wrestler.
He is a great wrestler. Hell of a body for a singer.
Yep, but that's pretty much it, man. Every week we're somewhere different. Good old Mischief and Mayhem. The kids are doing pretty good.
How many weeks are you on the road out of the year, like roughly?
Dude, every week we're somewhere different. We do like 2, 3, 4 shows a week.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty awesome.
It's good to have hits. Good to have.
No, I mean, it's like obviously like, so I've been doing a lot of stand-up comedy, and like one of the goals eventually is to be able to go to like, to be a big enough name or a big enough draw to get booked and go and see the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I would say going on the road, obviously. Like it's a fun, maybe probably over romanticized thing for me.
Then Netflix and then
Then you go.
HBO.
The sitcom. The Nick Scarpino sitcom.
Everybody loves Nick.
It's just people talking and then they turn fingers in the mouth. Fingers in the mouth with Nick Scarpino. That should be your
Good
next
Lord.
one.
That's great.
Mouth
That's awesome.
SisQo,
Yeah.
what's your topic?
My topic is what is cool? Like we know Cool Greg is cool.
Greg's
Cool Greg
undeniably
is cool.
cool.
Of
But,
course.
I
yeah.
mean,
I'll
like-
also throw another name into that bed. Jamal is cool.
Jamal's
super
absolutely
cool.
cool.
Jamal,
Yeah.
I was like, that guy's cool. He's a cool.
So hey man, I wanted to know, and here's the reason why I'm asking this, because I listen to the show. You guys go to see a movie. I come back because you always see it before anybody else gets to see it. So I wait. I watch the first half, and then when you say spoilers, I normally cut it off. And I'm thinking, okay, I go see the movie, and then I come back. I'm like, oh, dude, I know they're gonna love this movie. So I watch the movie, and I play. I press play on you guys' show, and you hate the movie that I liked, and I'm like,
Not all the time.
So
just
what
if it's a Star
exactly-
Wars movie.
like literally almost every time.
Really?
Okay, you didn't like Justice League, and yeah, because you didn't like Cyborg, and I kind of like Cyborg.
I like Cyborg.
I thought Cyborg did well because I read the comics, but at the end
Real
of the-
fans like the DC movies.
You
You
know
know what
what
I
I
mean?
mean,
Marvel
man?
I feel
fanboy.
it, dude. I feel it, man. Got our own show now.
And then wait. So then we go over to Marvel, and you didn't like Ragnarok, right?
No, we
I
love
love
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
Oh, you did?
There was things about it I didn't love.
Oh, okay.
I loved Ragnarok, though.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. My thing is the comedy in Ragnarok, fantastic. The action, fantastic. The storyline, the villain, I didn't like that. But otherwise, the rest of it,
Which is strange
super
because you
great.
used to say hella all the time. So you
It's
figure
true.
they named a character after
Still
that
do say
parlance.
hella all the time.
You should love that character. It's a living embodiment of Northern California.
Yeah. I like her.
But you know what what the catcher was? I think it was Mario Galaxy. I mean, not Mario
Odyssey.
Odyssey. And I'm playing Mario Odyssey, and I'm loving it. And Tim's like, "Nyeh."
What?
Fuck you, exactly. Fuck you. I'm with you again,
Didn't
Cisco.
say that. For a
you-
preview. For a preview, I said that.
Now, to be fair, I said, man. I played
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 hours of it, and I was like,
It's difficult to go back to.
not
But
into
once
this.
you're there, I was kind of in it.
No, to
Dude,
be fair,
I
it's
love Mario.
it's a good game, but like coming off of Zelda, right? I mean, we're spoiled.
Oh,
We get
yeah.
two first party like AAA titles from Nintendo in 1 year, but coming off of Zelda, I was like, this is phenomenal. And then I played
Yeah.
Mario, I was like, more of the same. That's how I felt. I was like, it's cool. It's
remember I told you
of
Zelda
list.
have ruined games for me, and then Mario did the same thing, man. Because I tried to play Sonic
Mania? Or Sonic Force.
Oh, yeah, don't try to play Sonic Forces.
Oh, no.
I couldn't. Not after
so
you play.
bad, dude.
Not after you play Mario. I mean, because the controls are so tight. And
Oh, it's yeah.
which, by the way, we need more Switch content. I'm like a Switch
You're about to get it,
fanboy
apparently.
now.
Dude, and supposedly January 11th, so like 7 days from now, we're about to get a whole bunch of announcements for the first half of 2018.
Oh,
What
yeah,
if we did?
I
What if
heard.
we did a
Need
show
direct.
called Switching with Tim, where you just convince everyone to switch over to the Switch from all their other consoles.
I don't need to convince anybody. They're all fucking doing it.
They said it was the highest selling.
Let's open it up though. That you just try to convert everyone to whatever you want. Where you're like, you need to switch from coffee to tea. And I'll explain to you why.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying? Switching to 10.
And then flip-flopping with Nick.
There you go. Did I like Justice League? You'll never know.
Depends what day it is and who I'm talking
to be fair, I went on record as saying I enjoyed Justice League. I liked the movie. And I actually enjoyed it more than I enjoyed The Last Jedi. I liked watching that movie more than Last Jedi.
Because he's a sane human being. He's a sane human being.
I'm not even going to get into this conversation.
You guys didn't like The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, because you guys were like, I hated it. And I actually saw it for a second time yesterday. I liked it better the second time.
A lot of people say that.
A lot of people drinking this Kool-Aid trying to convince themselves it was better. As a DC fan, I'm right there. I totally know what you guys are talking about. Yeah. Shit gets better with age. 5 viewings. Why not?
It doesn't, man. I watched Batman. I can't remember. I remember the first time I watched Batman vs Superman at home after I'd seen it. I'd only seen it once in the theater. And I remember I texted you. I was like, should I watch the extended version? You're like, no. Don't do that.
I was like, well, you're like with my wife. That was the kicker. I'm like, you're never going to get D to sit for 3 hours to watch all.
But like the deal maker part of my brain's like, dude, it's the same price. I got to get the extra content. Oh boy.
Yeah, when you hated it, I was texting Greg like, I liked it.
Yeah, damn right.
You're
not alone, people who liked Batman v Superman.
You can't watch it again, though. But
there are lots of people. There are a lot of people that like The Last Jedi, and there are a lot of people that are saying like, look, you should give it a little time and then go see it again because you might see it with fresh eyes and it might But now that I have resigned to the fact that they're going in just a different direction.
You got to say spoilers. I say spoilers.
No, everyone. That's
if we're talking about the movie, you got to say spoilers.
I feel at this point that you've watched The Last Jedi, no?
Because it's
been 2 weeks.
Because Luke was
$1 billion.
He was kind of acting like Yoda for a second. You know what I mean? Like when he was like drinking that weird milk.
Did that look?
Dude, I can't get that. I cannot get that out of my head.
Straight out the nip. Straight out the nip and drank it.
You know what?
While making eye contact.
Anything that's ever happened, any piece of media that stresses me out as much as conversations about The Last Jedi. Like it fucking it bothers me, man. Talking about whether someone likes it or hates it, I shut down. I'm like, I can't talk about
Welcome to my life since Man of Steel. Fuck you, suck it up and talk about it. Because that's all they're going to talk to you about for the rest of your life now.
But that's why I said what's cool, because I know it's unanimous that everybody hates the prequels.
No, but that's the thing.
I kind of liked it.
There you go.
Like now it's kind of good. Like if you from The Last Jedi, if the prequels are kind of good now.
Here's where it opened up for me, right? Obviously, the question of what's cool is very subjective, right? It's different for you and you.
It's not, and this is a question of not what's good.
What's cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like this topic.
All of the things in 2017, DC, Marvel, Star Wars, those are all cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
That is what cool pop culture is.
Now, but there are subcategories of that, right? Like I would say Thor Ragnarok's cool on a whole different level.
It was
because they took it to a different place,
dude. It was
and they got
funny.
the Goldberg or Goldblum, not the Goldberg.
They got the Goldberg. Fucking just take somebody out. He's got the security.
Where's my neck?
But that's the thing. Like going back to Star Wars, obviously, I still think Star Wars is cool. I always have, but I think it's more mainstream than ever now. With The Last Jedi, it is interesting because I've talked to so many people who I really respect, and they're like, I really liked it, and here's why. And their argument is a decent enough argument. But I've talked to a few people, and the things that I've come to the conclusion of is a lot of people like it because it has more of the prequel feel to it, where it's a little bit more experimental, a little bit like kind of out there. And a couple of the people I've talked to, literally, I'm like, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? And they're like, oh, I liked the prequels. I liked Phantom Menace. And I'm like, oh.
Wow. Who are you talking? You're making people up right now.
Who? Yusuf McGueen. I was working out with him. He goes, that's the problem. Fuck out. My favorite of all the Star Wars movies is Phantom Menace. And I'm like, oh, they're making them for you. They're making, because he was younger.
That's not what they're doing.
Kids who were raised on it.
Had the best lightsaber duels.
I fucking said that. I'm standing by it.
Well, what was bad about Last Jedi is the question.
I'm not getting into that. Straight up, I'm not
touching
into that
with a 10-foot.
There's a lot.
I just wanted to be known. There's been a straight line coming out of me with my opinion of The Last Jedi ever since it came out. I have not at one point changed my opinion.
A great point. Today, weeks later, Nick did scream during the morning show, they ruined my childhood. And that's been his line since we were in the car.
See, that's what it is.
Tim got in the car and was like, and I'm paraphrasing here, I could not have hated that movie more. And now he's flip-flopping.
I think it's
I'm just
because
letting
Watch the
Who's the
Star Wars
flip-flopper?
reacts and see if I'm flip flopping at all. I was the one most positive at the table about the movie, and I'm still in that same place.
Who are you?
I
On
think
the
it's-
second viewing, I liked
are
it
you? Who are you?
slightly more.
I think it's because of nostalgia.
I'm just fucking with you, Tim.
But see,
Nick
I
went
think-
into the tree Tim went into the tree and saw you because now he can't get out.
But here's the
You're a
thing.
flip-flopper like me, Tim.
Here's the thing. Sometimes I think nostalgia ruins stuff
It does.
because it
can.
like art is very difficult. Like art, for instance, for me as an artist, right? When my biggest album came out, it was a part of people's childhood, so I'm a part of the nostalgia. So that, some people have never heard anything new from me because they only want me to be thong song.
Right.
And so when you go into, the movie Last Jedi and you without a preconceived notion of what it's supposed to be and just accept it for what it is, it might be cool.
No, see, what you're talking about is something I've talked about a lot with the DC movies, and we're not even joking. I'm not even doing the dumb thing, right? But it's expectation, where I feel like so many people at Man of Steel, and myself included, like I left Man of Steel, I was like, oh, it was fine, whatever. And then when I watched it again with no expectations, like, oh, this is a sci-fi movie, they're going in a different direction, yada, yada, yada. So many people were like, that's not my Superman, so
From the
I'm done
Donner
with this
films.
whole fucking thing. And then every time they come back and they're still doing their thing, whether you like it or hate it, doesn't matter. You're not happy with that, right? And I feel
Right.
like that's the same way of like when I talk about comics, where it's like I never dug New 52 Superman, right? So I didn't read those comic books that much.
I like the way he draw. I mean, Lee.
Oh, Joe, the art was great, but like I didn't like the character they were doing.
Yeah, he was super duper strong. in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, with me, I mean,
solar flares come up.
that's the thing for me. I think, all kidding aside, my expectation was something, and I'm realizing that they are not catering to that expectation anymore, right? They are going in a different direction for whatever reason, and it doesn't vibe with me quite yet.
But-
I am open to the fact that I watch it 6 months from now on my couch when it comes out, and I'm like, when I can pause and pee 15 times and don't have to worry about it, I can watch it and maybe I'll like it again. I was talking about, there's 2 movies in my past that I remember doing that with, one of which I can't remember now, but the other one was The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, which I left that movie and I was like, I hated that movie. And then I saw Brian Altano and Marty and all these people were like, this is an awesome movie. And it broke my heart because I'm a huge Shane Black fan. And then 6 months later, I watched it again. I'm like, oh, I'll pop it on again and try it. Loved it. So I don't know. Maybe there was a lot of expectation, a lot of hype built up into it, and I came in a little too hot.
Yeah, because
Right.
like the
And I gotta
lightsaber
cool
duels,
off a
right?
little bit.
The lightsaber duels were not as elegant as the Phantom. Any of the prequels. However,
so wrong. So wrong.
No, because man, first of all, when Anakin and Obi-Wan got it in,
Okay,
that
that's
was
episode 3.
ill. Yeah,
But here's the thing.
and then what about
you
the
use the word elegant?
Darth Maul?
A lot of flips. Cool. He was cool. He was
Dude,
cool.
but that duel was dope.
It was, and I can't.
It was
All right,
cool.
this is a different topic because at some point we should rank all the lightsaber battles and all the.
Put it on your list. Put it on your list.
Wait, but this lightsaber duel and
Yeah.
this one, it wasn't really
See,
that
I-
good. But
That's
that's
a
where I would
lightsaber
disagree.
duel. That's the problem. No lightsabers clashed.
that's true. But see, here's the thing. Given their skill set, that was the way that they fight. Even when they fought in the first one, the lightsaber duel was kind of. They looked like they were just kind of swinging the lightsaber around.
That's episode 1. That's all the prequels.
No,
Even
no,
though
not
Obi-Wan-
You're
not
talking
the
about
prequels.
4?
I was talking about
Vaderverse?
Force Awakens.
Oh.
When
See,
they were
here's
fighting,
the-
dude, that was like a kind of.
But wasn't that because they were both untrained, right? We're talking about
Right, because they were
Raver-
untrained.
yeah.
That's what I was saying. So that was the way I was looking at it. Like they were untrained. Then you got Luke. He was he was just jaded, and it's like looking at him from like Brian Altano said the other day. This is a kid that whose dad tried to kill him. He lost his only father figures. Then the one father figure he got killed. You know what I mean? Then he tried to raise his sister's kid and. Then
royally fucked that up.
Right. It was
Yeah.
like, so it's like if you try to get into the headspace of where Luke is, instead of saying he's this master super Jedi, who we all wanted them to be. I wanted to see, don't get me wrong, I wanted to see Luke, show us why he's, the baddest Jedi in the universe. But I understood why they couldn't do that for the universe and for the franchise.
Yeah.
So that was why I was like, what's cool.
Well, that's what's interesting, about the question of, you brought it up as art, which is true, right? In the fact that it's crazy that whether it's a video game, it's a movie, it's a song, it's a painting, you can't universally look at something and have everybody be like, that's awesome, right? And no matter what you create ever, no matter what
true.
joke you tell,
Yeah, that's going to be some. I mean, everything's subject to subjectivity, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
every single thing that happens, like if we name anything, like before Last Jedi, I remember Taylor Swift's new album came out, right?
Sure.
She had that song, "Look What You Made Me Do," polarizing. People like either love it or hate it, right? I heard it, I was like, "That's hot."
You
And
did
that
love
song's
it. You
hot.
did like
I
that
loved
one.
it from the start. Saw the video, I was like, weird. Don't really get what she's going for.
That
here.
was the one
Still
Joseph
hot.
did.
Yeah, Joseph Kahn.
Yeah.
Got famous doing my video.
Hell yeah.
That's right,
so.
Joseph
One of the most
Kahn, if you're
expensive
watching.
videos of all time.
That was amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's always going to be that way. But what I find cool in that is when people could just go out there and put themselves out there. Right?
Sure.
That's always thing that's coolest for me, and that's the hardest thing for me too. Is like, especially with stand up, I try like when I go out there, I want so desperately to find that. It sounds silly to find a truth in what I'm saying, but not be afraid to say whatever the hell I want to say and put out the comedy that I want to put out. And I always hold a little bit back because either whether it's fear or uncertainty or just insecurity about what I'm doing. But I'm always amazed by people like you, for instance, who just go, "I'm going to do this thing. Hey, I'm going to do this." Like you just reach out to people and go, "This is me. This is who I am." Like,
Sure.
like spoilers for everyone sitting at home. This is Greg Miller. He has two modes. He has Greg Miller and powered down Greg Miller.
Sure.
That's
Power
it.
save Greg
is
Miller.
it.
Power
He's
save
not,
Greg
he's
Miller.
not any different. I mean, granted, we're all fairly. I mean, I'm generalizing here, but like I'm pretty close to the same person I am too. But you are.
We all just amp it up for camera.
Yeah, but you are who people expect you to be. You
I'd
are
like
the
to think
Greg
so.
Miller. You are a very genuinely like good person, and when you put yourself out there, that goes into the work.
Yeah.
Andy, on the other hand, is
Monster.
just a monster.
So many
Oh, he's not in
Gundams.
the room. Damn it! I thought now it's just
That's
me.
an embedded prize for him.
there you go.
But that's the
heard
same
you.
thing that I can't ever wrap my head around. But I can't wrap my head around with you, where you go to open mic after open mic after open mic, and you do and perfect the same set. But there's never a guarantee that the set is going to get a laugh that night, which is so weird when you think about it. Because you'd imagine, to an extent, he's going to all these different open mics in SF. All these different people are coming out to see comedy. So if a joke kills one night, you would think it would kill the next night.
Yeah.
I think so.
But there's so much, it's chemistry,
I mean,
right?
what's funny is it's like it's not even just locations or something. I've seen you like 10 times now.
Yeah,
I want to say something
probably.
like
You've
that.
never laughed.
And
That's it. Tim and Kevin.
I'm the guy behind the camera all the time. But it's funny because even at the same venue,
Yeah.
like the place on Haight Street, Milk Bar, it's like the range of laughs you get at the same jokes is so different every time. But
Yeah.
that's
some of
comedy.
it- That's true.
It's alive, man. It's like music. It's alive.
It is. But so yeah, I mean that's something that I always think is cool, and I always think it's cool watching people develop and then get to that next level of whatever they're doing. You know, like that's part of the fun of this is like I'm almost a year in, and I'm looking back and going, oh, like I looked back at some of my old jokes and I'm like, wow, these are just like I'm night and day different from where I was at before. Not any better necessarily, but just my thought process. I can see that in there. And then you look forward to guys like you were talking about Chris D'Elia and like his couple specials and how he's become one of your favorites because we saw him live
If
at the
you haven't
Comedy
seen
Store.
Chris D'Elia's, he has 2 specials on Netflix. There's one from 2015 and one from 2017. They're both hilarious. I watched the 2017 one first and then the 2015. Definitely start with 2015.
Is that the guy you told me
that
to watch?
shit's funny as
That's
fuck,
the-
man.
That's the
So
guy-
good.
yeah, is
So
that the
good.
British guy?
Not British.
Not the British.
He's
guy.
not British.
He's from Australia, I think.
No.
He has
Yep.
a joke about
Wrong
going to
again.
Australia. No, but he does have a whole bit about going to
Nailed it.
Australia now.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. But yeah, we saw him and like you see that and you're like, it's cool. That to me is cool. Where like you just stuck with it and kept going and you've hit that level of being able to do what you want to do or be at the height of what you want to do, which is
Dude,
cool.
I
That's
used to
awesome
think I
me.
wanted to do that, and yeah, no.
Stand up?
Yeah, but no. But no, I'm just saying because I would study comedians because the job I had when I was growing up, we worked at the fudgery.
I remember the fudgery.
Yeah, we
remember you
had
telling me
to
about the fudgery.
make the candy and sing the songs. But we had like a script that you had to learn, and then we make variations of the script. So I was like practicing my comedic timing, and but stand up, it's a whole nother beast. And when I started studying it, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I could do. It's a whole nother thing. And because I got like a lot of like my favorites are people like Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K. I saw Jerry Seinfeld live.
How was he?
Hilarious.
He's funny, man.
Dude, he was hilarious.
Can't fuck with it, man.
Dude, he was hilarious. He talked for the whole first opening of the show, he talked about, you made it, you got here, you made it. Yeah, and
Sounds like Jerry Seinfeld.
he was like, life is like a series of chairs. You know, if you get, you get up, go to the car, sit down. You came here and you sit down and you're paying me to stand up and tell you.
It sounds like Jerry Seinfeld.
It was hilarious, though.
He's got another. He's got 2 documentaries right now on Netflix you can watch. One is Jerry Before Seinfeld, which is his newest one.
I watched that, and I remember you didn't like it, and I liked it.
I liked
didn't
it.
like it.
I just
I
didn't.
was the one that
You didn't like the
love it.
throwback parts or
What's
something?
But if you
Cool.
go, well, I didn't like it. 'cause I
That's
thought
the
it
whole
was-
thing, and that's like
It's subjective, like you said.
universally, I would say Jerry Seinfeld is a funny guy, and people like Jerry Seinfeld, right?
And I agree with it. My problem is, I think in 2017, I said this last time we talked about this, but
It don't translate.
It's not that it doesn't translate. Is we have his jokes and his style of what his content is done in so many different ways. It's just tweets. It's just social media.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's BuzzFeed. It's just, well, here's a thing you can relate to.
Yeah, like his joke, for instance, when he's
well,
like,
he invented
you go,
it, I
you,
guess.
you live on Long Island, but you get in the subway or whatever it was, like that. You know,
You're
like-
going into the city, but you're on Long Island.
Yeah. So those things like that was. I mean, it's
do you like Louis
observational.
C.K.? I thought he was hilarious.
I do like
dude.
Louis C.K. You know, I've never been a huge fan of his. Like I've tried watching a lot of his specials, and
Really?
I never really got into him. But obviously, like you admire the guy's art. You admire what he's been able to accomplish. So he's but like I'm more of a Bill Burr fan.
Bill Burr is funny.
Bill Burr's like there are a few comedy specials that came out last year that I thought were hilarious. Bill Burr's I liked a lot. George Lopez's new comedy special on
The Wall?
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
It's funny.
The Wall. It's hilarious.
He's got a style. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, he's
he's a style.
He's
a
top
comic,
level.
Like
Like,
a
he
comic
is-
stylist, like from like the Richard Pryor days. And
Are you talking
like,
George Lopez,
even
like-
with Kevin Hart. Like I think he has
yeah.
he's a kind of funny.
.com. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
We won, guys. We won.
We nailed it. We knocked it out of the park.
Well, Kevin Hart's crazy because he is the only comedian I've seen do a stand-up special, and I'm sure there's a lot, but the only one I've seen that's in a fucking arena.
Yeah.
And it's like the
He's
way
that
that he
guy.
does stand-up, like even the biggest dudes that I know do stand-up, and maybe they're at like the Shrine Auditorium. That
Sure.
in the Shrine Theater, whatever it is. 7,000 people in LA.
LA.
And that's huge. But then we're talking places where like
Well, he was in
they
like
do
a
the
football
fucking
stadium.
I
Super
thought he was
Bowl.
funny in Jumanji, another movie that y'all didn't like.
We
right?
didn't see it.
We didn't
We
see
didn't
it.
see it. Yeah, I haven't seen. We haven't seen
didn't?
Jumanji.
No.
I
Yeah.
want to.
I'll see
I'm
it again.
stoked for it now.
I'll see it again. Let's go get high and go see it. I'm just-
Hey, it's legal.
It is legal.
Cool, Greg. You got to hook up.
At this point, Kogi just takes off of his camouflage sweat hoodie and starts breaking it up in speed. Like, you guys can smoke this shit right here, man. I don't give a fuck.
But so the question that I would think is interesting in the what's cool and how do you deal with people liking but not liking stuff. You go and put yourself out there as a
Yeah.
comedian, right? But then you think it's interesting that I just do whatever the fuck I want to go do and stuff, and then you put out music. Do you still feel like when you put out a song or an album, are you worried if people are gonna like it, or are you just making stuff to make it because you know it's cool and awesome?
yeah. Normally when I do music, I do the best I can to do what I think is dope,
Yeah.
and then just let the
But are you-
cards fall where they may.
Right.
Are you at a point where you still want everyone to like your stuff, or
I
have you
want
resigned to
them
the
to.
fact that some people just know, like, there's going to be a large portion of people that love it and some people who just don't get it?
Yeah, I mean, you want them to, but you got to realize, when I had the major distribution that I had before, it's what I call brainwash money. Like when you was talking about the whole Cardi B and Bruno thing, and I heard the record. Maybe I need to hear it again because everybody's, it's the greatest. It's like, is it the greatest because it's the greatest, or is it the greatest because that brainwash money brainwashing
just
you into
pushing it in front
thinking
of
that
you.
it's the greatest?
I mean, they're marketed.
I would never say it's the greatest. I
Not
think
the
it's
greatest,
I
but
think
you saying it's
fun.
dope, but I'm
And
just
what I like about it,
Like
is-
musically, the chord progressions don't really speak to me. I get it. Like it's like a joke. It's like, why did the chicken cross the road?
Yeah,
You start
it's kind
laughing
of
a little bit
parody.
because you're like, ha ha.
There's a lot of
it's like
nostalgia
1,000
built into
different.
that.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like that does not make dope music because you hit a chord with some cool nostalgia. You know what I mean? Because they don't even got no chemistry. Like they don't like me personally. I like when somebody does a duet. I want to be in the fantasy and believe that they might be boning. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Well, I like
that
to
make
believe
the
everyone's
song
boning.
Yeah.
that make the song sexier.
Yeah.
But
Kid and play.
everybody knows that Cardi is with
It's actually two people.
Cardi's with what's his name?
She was joking. Hot tub time.
Offset. Cardi and Offset are together, and I'm not sure if Bruno's married, but you know, and so their chemistry is almost like they like a mile apart in the video, and so I'm not. And then the chords ain't sexy.
See that?
So you got this sexy artist, two sexy artists not being sexy on this like kind of fun Will Smith throwback.
I just don't really see it as a sexy song. I see it more. It's fun. It's more
Everything's
like
got to be sexy when you're an artist, man.
I like that. I enjoy. The you're talking about the nostalgia. I think they really nailed it with the look of the video.
Absolutely.
It's shot in 60 frames per second to give it that. When you watch
That
it, it
TV
looks like
feel.
they're on a stage. It looks like you're watching them in real life.
Like the
And it's-
opening of like Will Smith's.
Exactly.
and
Stuff like
yeah,
that
it
is
was very
super.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air-ish.
I like that. And also
And
like
Living
that it's
Color.
Cardi B out of her comfort zone. We've only heard her on like Offset style shit, right?
Yeah,
and to
trap,
hear her
like trap
on
music.
yeah, exactly. And to hear her on this, I'm like, oh shit, there's another side to her, and I enjoy that, and I also enjoy lyrically. Like again, not the dopest shit. It's definitely not the dopest
Right,
shit.
but
I think
you
it's
kind of
fun.
got to nail it though if you're gonna go there. And
Well,
I'm
I
just
think it's
saying
fun
that-
because she's what the lyrics that she has. It's funny seeing the era that she grew up when. We're finally starting to see people make references. Like she has the whole shit about Lil Jon and It's like we're seeing a different generation get recognized. That I think this is a step towards.
Okay, so it's the last Jedi of music. I got it. You got to.
Damn, I'll take that, man.
Because you got to get into the character of what they're doing. All right, I get you. It's just like by me being a musician, I'm listening to music first. Is the music dope?
Right.
Like I'm not.
But
like,
do you
forget
look
the
for?
gimmick.
Are you looking for things that you think will withstand the test of time to
Yeah,
define
absolutely.
as cool? Because to
Wild
me, Tim
Wild
showed me-
West is still a
Come on,
dope
son.
song.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Even though
Yeah.
people didn't like the movie, I didn't think the movie was that bad, but. But I think honestly, I think
At
what
PS
happened with the movie. Hear
At
me out.
PSX, Andy Cortez yelled at me for watching it.
I think
I like
listen,
that movie.
I think what happened with the movie was that the video was so good,
So good.
that it effed up the movie.
to be fair,
everybody
to be fair.
wanted the movie to be better than the video, and
No.
it wasn't.
Couldn't.
So,
Lightning in a bottle.
It can't
so
be.
I'm sorry. Will Smith never called me again. Let me. True story.
True story. Oh man, that got sad. That got sad out of the blue. Oh wow. I didn't
Part of
see
me
that.
died. No, but no, I'm saying but like I said, the song was dope. And we sampled that Stevie Wonder song. What's the name of the song?
Going straight.
No.
I wish these days would come back.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So it was. So that was a throwback too. But when I'm covering Stevie Wonder, you gotta come
Oh,
with
you
it.
gotta pull a Stevie Wonder beat.
So
You
what
gotta
I'm
fucking
saying is
bring
that if you're gonna go with the nostalgia, you gotta come with it. You gotta be just.
You know what's
My
so
thing is,
sad for
I think
me?
it's a different era because it's not just about the song. It's about the song. It's about the memes. It's about the video. It's about the this. It's about the dancing. It's about everything. And with someone like Bruno Mars, and it's funny me saying this to you because you are one of these people. But it's rare these days that you see someone that sings and produces and dances and does all of it. And Bruno's one of those guys. It's like,
Yeah.
I wanted to not like Bruno Mars. I
Me
gave up on that
too.
years ago because I'm like, you're way too talented.
He's
for me to
dope,
hate on
dude.
you.
When I
he
saw-
hasn't done something that isn't dope.
Yeah, when I saw him play that guitar,
Super Bowl?
when we did that Prince guitar thing, I said, yeah, I'm gonna have to just go ahead like him.
There's nothing he can't do. On
This is
drums, on
not- I mean,
guitar.
I could play the guitar too, but not like that. I was like, Jesus. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
think
was impressed.
For this video though, like I feel like
He
this
played that?
video is like a fleeting kind of cool. Like we'll look back on it a year from now, like, oh yeah, I remember that. But right now, it captures the zeitgeist, like and the nostalgia so well of what's going on.
Gotcha,
and
gotcha.
it feels like a great idea. Like you're like, oh, that's you caught lightning in the bottle for this one thing. When Tim showed it to me, I was like, I instantly think this is awesome.
Gotcha,
If I watch
gotcha.
it 6 months from now, am I gonna think the same thing? I probably will never watch it again. I'm not, it's just one of
But
those
it hit
things.
that
It's not
chord,
like
struck
Steve
that
McQueen
chord.
where it's like, okay, that guy's undeniably cool for whatever era you're looking at him in, right? That was cool, right? Like a lot, like we were all fans of what was it? Was it Shake It Off? What was the one where she was like on the white? That video. It was on white. Right?
She was on-
She was
oh.
trying to dance.
Yeah. Taylor Swift.
Taylor
Shake It
Swift,
Off.
yeah, that was the video, right?
Sorry, I was just.
Yeah.
Well, we all
I
watched
bought
that.
that-
We were like,
I bought
oh,
that
that's
album,
really
by the
fun.
way.
That's
Hell
cool.
yeah, you
But
did.
you go back and look at it now, you're like,
because of
whatever.
you.
No, dude, I
check it out.
totally
Welcome.
disagree. That
It was
video
good.
was
It's
playing
very,
in a
very
bar I was at a couple of weeks ago, and I looked at you. I'm like, this video is like, it's iconic.
Still good. You think
did
it
a
withstood
thing, man.
the test of time?
Totally. It's
Do you
like,
think the new one will though? I don't think it will.
no, look what you made me do. Look what you
It's just that I don't even care about the videos, man. It was the music. And when Greg kept saying Taylor Swift, I was like, and my niece was like a huge Taylor Swift fan.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, well, let me check it out. And I listened, and musically, she definitely, absolutely did not write those songs, man. 20 people wrote
didn't.
like one song.
Oh, she wrote some of them, but
No. She might
On
have
89?
wrote in it, but yes,
Okay.
dude. Like that one song that look in your eyes.
Oh yeah.
That song is like from a musical standpoint, it's like perfect. The mix, the vocals, the lyrics, the
Well,
instruments.
she has to have her pick of the
But
of
I'm
the litter
saying,
when it
like,
comes to
but as a
creative people,
musician,
right?
as a songwriter,
Yeah.
I could hear 78 people wrote that record because you can't. It was too perfect. It was too perfect.
Interesting.
That record is perfect, dude. It's sonically, it's just it's like serious. And then I was like, okay, I get the Taylor Swift thing now.
Good.
Right.
And the reputation, you're like, yeah, whatever. It's not that
really
great.
is.
I got it.
It's like, yeah,
It's
it's
so
like,
whatever.
we bought it and we listened to it and on
so
that
Taylor
LA thing.
Swift was cool. I mean, but I like that album was dope.
She still is cool.
I don't know, man.
Cool.
That was
I mean,
that was
cool
messed
is
up what she
such a-
did to Kanye. But I mean, we ain't gotta go.
Fuck that. Kanye has it coming.
Does he?
Yes, he ruined the awards, and I'll never forgive him. I'll never forgive him.
What? I wouldn't even know who she is if it wasn't for that.
Well, you know what?
Damn.
I mean, I'm gonna let you talk, but I'm just,
Let's talk.
All right.
You got to keep it. You got to keep it fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be
This-
polarizing every once in a while.
What? You got more?
I was going to bring up one more thing about the cool.
Go for it.
thing. Is something that was interesting to me is Eminem just put out his 9th studio album.
so good,
Really?
dude. That song
Is it cool?
Walk on Water?
No, the one with
Cool, Greg. Which one? With Untouchable.
Untouchable, dude. That was. I mean, as a person of color, I was like, "What? Thank you, Eminem," because people needed to hear that. It was.
I have not heard it.
not
What
heard it.
exactly
Oh, you
is the
gotta hear
message
it.
behind it?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Well, first of all, lyrically, he was really giving it up, and then he was telling the truth, and I believed him. When it comes to artists and what I deem dope is basically when you're singing something, I gotta believe the words that are coming out of your mouth. If I believe it, then because it could be wet. Like for instance, Soulja Boy, that song. How about I put my
Turn my swag
swag
on.
on? I think I lick in them. Now as a singer, it was horrible. It was so bad that it was good because he committed.
Yeah.
Like you said, to a joke, he committed to that record. And I was like, dude, this is so bad that it's good.
Well, that's what
just
I'm
like
saying,
when
like-
Cardi first came out.
Yeah.
It was like, it was so ratchet, but that's
That's her thing, man. She's
so I'm
home
like,
with the
yo,
ratchet, for sure.
you can't hate when it's real.
That's what I'm
Real
saying, right?
recognized
When you
real.
find that sort of like truth in it, right? That honesty in it. It might not be a message you agree with, but when you find someone that like puts themselves out there with that, that's a rare thing to me.
Yeah.
That's something that I strive to be, and I haven't quite hit that level yet. But where it's like I am this, and like it does really for me boil down to like I still want everyone in the world to love me, right? I see a future where there's not one person on this planet that goes, I don't love it. Like Nick Scarpino. Great guy. Love that guy, right? But if you really want to put your message out there, it's probably going to be a little polarizing. And at a certain point, you might piss someone off, or so you might run the risk of someone going, I don't like that guy. He doesn't vibe with me. But I just don't think you can get to that next level unless you're willing to go, this is for me. I'm putting this message out. It's for the people that I know will connect with, and that is it. Right? And if other people find me cool and we'll all grow together, but I can't be worried that I have to please everyone because it's just going to melt. It's going to vanilla and
100%
down the message.
That's what we talk about. I mean, with our own content here, right? I think if you're creating anything, that's got to be the zeitgeist behind it, the message behind it, the thrust behind it is the fact that I'm creating something I would watch that I would enjoy, and that's going to appeal to an audience. And whether that audience is 2 people or 200 people or 2,000 people, that's just how it's got to be. You can't sit there and like do the math on, okay, well,
Sure.
I won't say this, but I will say this, right? If I say this, I'm going to lose these people, so I shouldn't say that. Blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
I mean, that's literally an internal dialogue I have every time I go up on stage. Where I'm
Sure.
like, I see, and because there's a difference between like what we do here and then going up on stage, and that difference is that you get to actually look into the person's eyes as you're saying a joke about them or what they represent, and you see the reaction, and it's either a laugh or it's a You know, like not even a head nod. Most people are courteous, but it didn't resonate, right?
Yeah.
Or not. It was in poor taste or whatever. So it's hard to be like, I'm gonna have the courage to go out there and like say the things I really think are funny or I think are that people need to be socially aware of, and I'm gonna use humor to make them aware of that, and then look out a bunch with people that either fell on deaf ears or they straight up don't like you. it's hard.
or they might not be quick enough to get it.
That's possible,
and then
too.
you guys
I might just be too smart for everyone.
You'll be appreciated 20 years after you're deaf.
Like he was actually a genius.
People are gonna go back and watch these and be like, he wasn't. You know, he never flip flopped.
There was a nuance to his flip
Mark
flopping.
Hamill didn't like anything that he had to do in Last Jedi, but still committed to it.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
So I had to respect it.
And half the people that watch that movie appreciate that.
All half of us.
The other half. All half of us. Yeah.
So this segues into my topic pretty actually well.
Awesome.
So my topic is if you saw me tweet on New Year's Eve, that in basically, if you haven't, here's the thrust of it. In 2018, I'm going to write a Superman comic. Not for DC Comics, unless you want to call me Jim Lee and Jeff Jones. But I'm going to write my own script for a Superman comic and put it out there. And, you know, I assume we've already had artists approach me on the internet and stuff like that about trying to draw it or do stuff, right?
Just slide into your DMs, though? Where they're like, hey, what's up?
No, it's just Andre being like, hey, I'll draw as you want. I'm like, all right, probably, yeah. So I know that I've said before I have this great idea for a Superman video game, right?
Oh,
Thank you, please.
And then for years now, I've never told you this idea because I have a vision for that video that I know we can produce and we'll make the way we want it and we'll do it great. I've already said on the stream for our anniversary that'll happen this year. I'm still not going to tell you about that. So when I did the comic, first off, thank you all for your support. I put out this tweet that I thought would just be something that gets like all my normal comic tweets, maybe 100 hearts, and I'd be done with it. Something like 4,000 people have hearted it, and so much love, and like, oh my God, this is really cool, and I'm glad you're trying this and doing this thing.
It is super cool. When I saw that shit, I was like, damn, Greg.
Well, I mean, a huge part of this is Nick Scarpino. Is the fact of last year, like I don't do New Year's resolutions, and then last year when you're like, I'm gonna do comedy this year, I was like, oh, that's cool, and then you actually did. Here we are a year later, and you're about to go play Cobb's Comedy Club. You know what I mean? Like you've made this happen, you put in the work, and you did all this different stuff. And I've thought about writing comic books before, and had an idea here or there, other stuff, and then like Kind of Funny, not that I'm leaving Kind of Funny was the creative outlet I needed when we first started, and we were doing GOG. Well, first off, Conversation with Colin, and then the Oreo show, and then now this and stuff like that. And I'm not saying this doesn't give me what I want anymore, but it's just cool to stretch your legs and do something else, right?
Yeah.
And I think a big part of it is the fact that there just aren't people necessarily. So many people get Superman stories wrong. That's long and short of it.
Was
right?
it difficult?
We're at step one of this.
Ground level.
And so what I was leading into
sounds very difficult.
It is. No, I mean, it's also learning a new way of writing, right? Like I've written fiction before, and I've written newspaper articles before, and I've written plays before, but I just read Brian Michael Bendis' book, yeah.
Okay.
Like, and I'm all the stuff I need
I've
to.
written plays.
Well, I mean, like in college, I don't mean like I'm like
Shakespeare.
Yeah. I did the Spider-Man Turn on the Dark musical or whatever the hell.
Dude.
Oh man.
But like with the video game Superman pitch, I'm not gonna say anything till we do it because I want this. I have a vision of that. The comic book, I'm gonna pitch it all right now. What I have so far, and I want everybody to know, everybody at this table, I've never been nervous for a GOG topic before. I am terrified of this.
Let's go.
Not because, and this is what we're talking about. Jumping off the last thing. This is a good idea for a comic. I believe in this comic. This is a comic I would want to read, right? My problem is, how do you fucking pitch a comic book, right, to a bunch of your friends at a table?
Like this, go.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I want you to read panel by panel and explain what happened.
See, that's my thing. Is like, so where we are with me in this comic book, right, is that I've started writing, and I have scenes I know I want, and like, there's a scene. So for me, it starts in terms of like why now, what's happening, right? Over break, we were driving. We flew to Chicago, spent time with my family, then flew to Vermont to spend time with Jen's family because she can't leave the country. They drove down, yada yada yada. When we were driving out of Vermont or whatever, because we went to Burlington, you go over this giant bridge right that has water on both sides, and then we went into South Hope, and then up into North Hope is where we stayed in a log cabin or whatever. And it's cold and it's shitty and it was snowing, and not shitty, but it's cold and sleety and all this stuff. And I was looking out the window because Jen and her sister just got reunited after months apart, and they're speaking French, and I can't understand it goddamn word. So I'm sitting out the back looking at the thing, and I'm just like, man, it'd be cool to be Superman, but it would suck to just have to, how like when Superman hovers there or whatever, like, and he listens, and like to be there and have the snow pelting him in the face, right? And like, and then I thought I had this image that's not even in this book because it just doesn't fit, but of him sitting there getting pelted with the thing and just being like, the one thing nobody ever tells you about Vermont is that the weather sucks. And for me, that was the first time where I found a voice for the Superman I want, right? Because I always talk about Superman whenever we talk about the movies, the comic books, whatever, right? That the iteration of Superman, that is my iteration, is that he's Clark Kent. He's from Kansas. Yes, he's an alien. Yes, he crashed here. Yes, he has these powers. He identifies as a farm boy from Kansas. He is, Smallville when Lois calls him that. He's never the New 52 Superman. That was, I'm very much an alien in this world. Both my parents are dead. I'm trying to figure all this out. And so from there, it just started going of what would the Superman story I'd want to tell with that Superman, right? Because Superman never says sucks, and he would never say Vermont's weather sucks. But like, if he was a normal person, which I vision him to be, he would. And that, even.
So you humanize him. So
Yeah, you're
that
definitely
you can relate
humanizing
to
him.
him.
So here we go. The title of my book is Superman. Not clever, I know. And this will be incredibly hard to tell anybody without seeing it. I mean, in terms of when you pitch this book, it's Superman, but it's strike through text on super. So it's Superman with a line through it, right? And so this is where everybody stick with me, because again, this is an idea in flux that'll change a million times, and I don't have everything nailed down, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you the scenes as they go, hopefully, and maybe reveal stuff earlier than the book would reveal to the reader and things along those lines. I want it to open right, and it's Clark and it's Superman and Lois, him getting interviewed, right? And she's got the notepad, maybe a tape recorder, and she's sitting there talking. And the first word bubble is something to the idea. I had it because I wrote. I'm sure this will change, right? Everyone thinks I have power, like unlimited, unchecked power. It doesn't work like that, right? Like, so that's one box, then another box, and then we're right into this interview. And this alone, I hope, starts talking immediately for what I hate about people. I love Christopher Reeve. I love the Richard Donner movies. They totally fucked up Superman for multiple generations. Because, hey, here's a hero who can rewind time. He's so powerful, he can revert. So, like, where's the drama? Why does he ever have an emotional connection to any of these peons, right? And so
He's a
many
god.
people, when you talk to
Man,
about
when he caught that
Superman.
airplane, when he caught that helicopter, I was.
Oh, dude, the amazing scene. Don't get me. I'm not taking
Superman
away.
for every
Sure.
Dude, I
You've
was
got
Superman
me.
for every
Who's got you?
Halloween. And one year they ran out of the Superman Halloween costume, and I had to be Batman.
Yeah.
So I wore like the Batman face with the Superman costume.
Nice.
And everybody was calling me Batman. I was like, no, I'm Superman. That's how much I love Superman.
But I want to immediately set the scene of my Superman, right? That he isn't all powerful, and he's obviously an alien powered by Earth's yellow sun and can do all these different things. He's not all powerful, and he's going to be in situations he can't control, right? And again, to reveal, I think, to you guys early on, this is going to be a book or a series, right? And this is where it gets weird for me right now as somebody who's now reading and trying to plot all this out of, well, if I'm not really making it for DC Comics, do I have to stick to 20-page issues? Do I just tell one giant story? If I tell one giant story, where do I break it up? Where do I do all this different stuff?
Do it like American
Alien? Yeah, but even that, it was like...
Yeah, it was like a...
Yeah, but Max had the number of issues he needed to work in, right? So, but I'll get to all that or whatever, right? So it's him getting interviewed by Lois, telling her this story, right? And all his power unchecked. I don't have that. That's not how this works. And she's like, well, how does it work? You know what I mean? She's interrupting him and asking him. And this is for you, the viewer then, or listener who knows me and knows my background. The reason I'm feeling like confident in the story already and writing this dialogue, right, is that in a very weird way, this is me interviewing Superman now, right? Like, I feel like I'm a good interviewer. I feel like I have a good journalism degree from a great journalism school. And so I'm ZOU. I'm immediately sitting there and setting the scene and using that as my thing, right?
Good job with Andy Serkis, by the way.
Thank you so much. A couple of the interruptions I have in there, right? I'm actually including anecdotes from my college professors and stuff like this. And like, she's stopping him and asking him to clarify names and dates and stuff as he goes or whatever. Because he's telling her this story that is unfolding obviously on the pages in front of you. She's being a reporter to him and stuff. So it's a Superman Lois interview. The story he's telling, right, is that set in Vermont on that bridge. I went and looked at it on Google Maps when I started writing it, and in my mind, I thought the bridge was high. It doesn't look like it is high, so I think I have to really. I'm gonna
Take some artistic license with it.
Well, I know, but I think I can make it
There's a lot
work,
of
right?
bridges in Vermont, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Depends on where you're shooting from.
Exactly, right? And so
Billions of bridges.
it's winter. It's winter time. It's ice. He's telling the story of Vermont, right? And basically, it's going to be that he's. My whole crux here, right, is that I love Superman because of the human moments. I love Superman because of Clark Kent. My whole book here is always going to be set in these human moments, these things we can all connect to that make sense, right? So this is him shooting back, and he's telling Lois the story of basically he was up in New Brunswick, right? Black Manta was raising a whole bunch of troops out of the water up there. Him and Arthur stopped him, and he was coming back to Metropolis. When he breaks out of the sound barrier and punches out, he just hears, "Man, Superman!" And he's like, "What the? Oh!" And he like shoots down. He's above Vermont, sees this woman out on the ice screaming for Superman, and he comes down. He's like, "What's wrong?" And he sees the hole in the ground, X-ray vision, all that jazz in the ice, I should say, not the ground. Shoots down, pulls out the car, puts it down, rips off the door, does it, and her husband's dead already.
Oh.
And she's like, runs up and is screaming at him and pounding, and I'm like, "Why weren't you here? Like, what are you doing? Like, how?" And he's like, now cutting back to him and Lois sitting there having this conversation. He's talking about like, this was early on. I didn't, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like going out, and it's this story of him failing this woman. It's this story of him failing this family. And it's this story of her not understanding that. Her going back to the unchecked power and being like, you can hear everything. You can hear, you know what I mean? I have all this stuff in there with him trying to explain to Lois how it works, that it isn't that he can hear everything, that it is like right now. And this is when I was talking to you guys. I haven't told them the story before, but I was talking to Tim and Nick yesterday about like, when I read, before when I've tried to write a comic book, I'll sit there and I'll look at it and I'll have a storyline. I'm like, oh, great. And it'll be like, this is how you lay it out, and this is how you describe a panel, and this is how you know when to put breaks in there. And when you're looking at it, it just didn't work. And when I was tinkering around with other stuff, and even in the Bendis book, which is amazing, and I think you should just read it for our script writing or anybody who wants to be creative.
What was it called?
Words for Pictures. And it's totally inspiring. It's written like, I think, podcast, where it's just, hey, I'm talking. It's a narrative. We're just talking, and that's how it's going to be. But it talks in there about like, not everybody's going to like what you do. You have to believe in what you do, and people will come to that, which is what we've said forever about Kind of Funny, but it's awesome when you go in there and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing to hear somebody else say that about the thing I'm trying to embark on. When I sat down and started writing this, and I was like, I'm just going to write dialogue, because I cannot sit here and be like, it's a medium panel and this is what's happening. When I started writing the dialogue, that immediately started informing what they would be. And I was like, oh my God, it was like a light switch moment of like, when he's describing to Lois, like, it's not like that. I can tell you that outside there's been this car accident. I have it written down, but like outside, these two guys are arguing about the Meteors game last night. Over there, somebody's burning something. And you can see the little pop-ups that are like super close-ups that like he's picking up on it and knows. And I was like, fuck, that's how comics happen. That's cool. Anyways, we're still nebulous here, right? In my mind. So he's telling Lois this story, and I believe what it's going to be is that every year he goes back to that spot and meets up with that woman. And Lois being like, you don't have to do that. Like, you've been doing this a long time now. You didn't fail her. And he's like, I know that, and she knows that now, but I need this as a reminder. Because if I just give in to what everybody thinks of me, then yeah, the weight of the world's on my shoulders, and I can't be that person, and I lose who I really am when I take off the cape and when I walk away. And it's him and her talking, and like, this is where it'll be, I hope, a cool thing for the reader, and I'm spoiling it for you, obviously, and everybody watching. Still buy the book if it ever happens. Or, I mean, just read it. I'm not going to sell it. Obviously, DC would sue my ass off, right? But it's him being like,
we can figure it out.
We're selling this pen along with a comic. You know what I mean? Like, a comic's free. But it's him having this conversation with her.
It's genius.
Almost being broken down. Well, that's how you said to sell college tickets.
Yeah.
When you came out for the Mizzou Illini game, you couldn't sell the tickets above face value on eBay, but if you included a souvenir Missouri pen, you could sell it for whatever the fuck you wanted to. Because you were selling the pen, and then the kick-in was there was tickets too.
Yeah.
Nice.
eBay in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? Anyways, he's having this super serious conversation at the table with her, right? And she's reporting, doing all stuff, has her tape recorder going, and like when they get to a natural breaking point or ending, and he's just like,
Can we fuck?
No.
I'm just doing-
But close, right? And he just goes through, he's like, all right, you're going to type this up? I'll go take care of John. And she's like, yeah. And he gets up and he walks upstairs. And like, that's the first time where you're like, oh, this is happening. And hopefully this is happening in current continuity. This is happening where they're married and have a child. And then it's her typing, and it's going to be
her son, John.
Yeah, exactly. Her at the computer, and her first lines of dialogue or text will be, something to the effect of, I've only worked out the end of this, but people always think that Superman's all powerful. That he's never able to. They think that his most impressive power is Superman's most impressive power is flight or heat vision or that. It's not. Clark's most impressive power is his heart. Period. end of issue 1 is where I see it, right? And so I want you to finish and be like, wow, that number 1, if I do this right, number 1, wow, that's cool that Superman's human and at the table and thinks about this. Number 2, wow, that was a cool turn. Number 3, why is Lois Lane writing about Superman and calling him Clark? Like, what is she doing there, right? So then, again, this is where it gets interesting is it multiple issues? Is it one giant thing? I don't know. The next story I want to tell is super in flux, but it might involve Cool Greg in a way. But basically what I need to do is Superman is telling another story of him fucking up. And not to the somebody dying extent, just him being a normal human, right? And he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And it's going to be, I need probably help on this one, but him stopping somebody in his his second day of being Superman, second day of wearing the tights, right? Stopping somebody doing
the armor.
Stopping somebody like jaywalking or doing graffiti or like totally like don't fucking do that, but not like a mass murderer, right? Yeah. And so the scene's going to be, well, as he's telling Lois or whatever the thing, but like the scene, and this is my favorite part about right now writing the book, which is super nerdy and whatever. But when I write Clark and Lois talking, it's Clark. And when we jump to the other thing, it's Superman dialogue, which I think is cool. It's a cool change for my head, at least. I don't know. That was I'm just enjoying the process in general. But it's him, and basically he's going to be like, and we'll jump back from the scene of him stopping whatever small thing this is, but not the guy giving him gruff and him not really knowing how to, verbally spar with somebody, or just like, why would I stop doing this? Why wouldn't you? And it'll just cut back to him, and it'll be like, so I didn't really know what to do, and it would be like a beat, and she's like, so what did you do? And he's going to go, and like a close up on him, eye roll, right? And he's like, I did the red eye thing. And then we're going to cut back to her, and it's going to be like her deadpan for a second. She's his wife, right? They've been together. And it's going to be her starting to break and then losing it, and like him losing it too. I'm like, you did the red eye thing? And he's like, it was my second date. I don't know. And like, again, this is hard. I'm telling you this. I hope jump to where I was, right?
We're seeing it.
Of him grabbing this guy and doing the red fucking heat vision eyes. And she's going to be like, you save that for Dark Side. You save that for when somebody still, you don't do, and he's like, it was my second day. I don't know. Like,
too intimidating.
I thought you meant
exactly.
No,
but you see
it. He burnt the tag off the wall.
Burned his brain out of the back of his head.
And visually it'll totally make sense into a Superman or a comic book reader, right?
I love it because it's like, that's such a great payoff to it. But I also love the idea of like, what is a problem that Superman can't fix?
Yeah, that is just like
cool. I love that.
I don't know if you're open for feedback at this point.
I want all of it.
So my first thought where you're going to go with that is like, okay, what happens after that? Where does that kid go who is now terrified of Superman?
Sure.
Right? And this is what I like about this.
He turns into a villain.
When you humanize someone, right?
Yeah.
You humanize someone, you're talking about consequences.
Yeah.
You're talking about like Superman, the problem in the movies is that he can do anything, and he does do everything, right? But we never really get to see the consequences of it. They kind of sprinkled them in a little bit where it was like he destroyed the world, now Batman's going to try to kill him. I guess that kind of works.
Yeah.
But what I like about this is, what would happen if you were graffitiing a wall and Superman came down and said, I'm going to like threaten to burn your face out, right?
Yeah,
What would that make you?
Yeah.
And then what happens if you caught up with that person 8 months later and he just got out of jail because he was trying to kill? I don't know. Like,
no, you're with me, right?
Because
I
where
think,
does that go? Like, I would love to revisit that story and be like, and then I checked back in on that person and I totally ruined his fucking life.
You're right there, and I don't want it to be ruin his life, but I do want it to be that
I put him on a course that was
Clark
other
Kent
than where I
/
should
Superman have to have a moment with this guy down the line, right? Because that is the thing of like, I have a great moment there. I need to flesh it on both sides. Because again, because I hope everybody's thinking this is neat so far, right? Of like, these human stories.
Like All-Star Superman was a little...
Yeah, and I definitely want him grounded, right? Like that's my thing of like the, great comics. We always talk about American Alien, obviously, but like, even Michael J. Straczynski's grounded Superman story. While overall it got weird at the end, like there were so many awesome moments, and whenever like it's suicide awareness stuff, you always see that one pop up, right? Of him just hovering there with this woman who wants to jump. Like that's the kind of fucking story I want to tell of like, here's Superman as a man, here's Superman as a person. And again, what like similar to the Vermont weather sucks thing of like, he's not fucking Jesus all the time. He has thoughts of his own. He's not thoughts, right? He doesn't have to be like that, right? Anyways, but no, you're right on the money of yes, like the payoff to that story is that there is more of him trying to make it right. Because again, everything in this book has to go back to Clark's greatest power is his heart. And so that's that, right? So there's another story here. It's her finding it again. Now, this is, again, I'm going nebulously with you. Filing the story.
Got it.
Putting it into her computer at home, right? hitting end, and like my idea is that it's in issue 1 when he goes upstairs, it's her signing into the computer and doing some kind of like secure thing, like showing that this isn't like on a public server. It isn't just in her Word, my documents file on her computer. Same thing, closing out. And I don't know if this is, again, if there is an issue 2 or if this is one giant thing, blah, 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 blah. I digress, guys. But at some point, whether it's after this story or if it's after another story like this, right? It's her closing it down, turning off the light, going upstairs, us hanging on the computer for a while, maybe seeing the time pass, and then seeing the computer remote start, open up, someone off-site's taking control, opening it up, looking through all the documents, finding this one, taking it, or copying it or whatever, right? And then that's the end of that issue or that cliffhanger or whatever the fuck it is. So, again, that was jumbled, but narratively, Lois is writing this book about Superman, even revealing that he's Clark Kent, or telling these stories at least, filing these pieces about Superman.
So they're gonna tell the world.
So,
good old Batman. He tells everybody.
They jump in.
You know I'm Batman, right? Batman.
Somebody steals this document. We don't know who it is. We don't know why. We don't know how. But we know as readers closing that issue, that's how that ends, right? So then I want issue 3 or just a moment in the next one, right? Is the way I see it opening up. After that is them the morning after, right? And like we don't know that they know, but obviously they know because it's just them sitting at the kitchen table in silence, like 4 panels going down, right? Until probably the last panel, hers going, maybe it's a good thing people have it. And then there's this discussion, right, of like, I don't know what we're gonna do, and it's Superman again being a human being of like, Cyborg made this for me. He made this server for us. Like it's supposed to be totally invulnerable. No one's being able to get in there, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, you do you want to hit him up and try to get a trace on it that way? Because she's like, you work a farm in Kansas. You don't know how to do this. And he's like, I know. But he's like, no, he's off world doing something with the new gods. There's a reason he can't. And then it's more beasts. And she's like, well, you know who we have to talk to then?
Kevin.
Batman.
And again, he
said Kevin.
Yeah.
You know who we have to talk to
Kevin.
then, right? And it's another like, Clark, like, I don't want to talk to him about this. And she's like, we have to. And it's like, all right, I'll call Bruce.
Right.
And so then the next jump is them in the cave, and it's I know this is the Batman I'm picturing, and this is super fucking nerdy, so everyone stick with me.
Okay.
Is I want the angry, stouter Batman from the cover recently of Superman where Damian and Jonathan meet for the first time.
Yeah.
And if you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
It's Superman looking down with his like grin and Batman coming up and like snarling at him, right? And so we could jump to a full page splash of Batman being like, why would your wife be writing a book about you? Not hands out like that, but like doing the Batman, like what in God's name would possess you to do this,
Right,
Clark, right? And this conversation goes on a while, but it's him and Lois in the Batcave talking about this, right? And I don't have this down yet, but I want Clark to be being Clark about it, where he's like, what? She's a reporter, Bruce. This is what she does. And like, it's, we thought there was a lot of value. And he's like, value? Why would there be value in laying all your secrets out? He's like, you don't understand. I'm not explaining it well. There's a value in it because he's blah, blah, and then basically we're going to get to a frame, right, of Batman. I again, I'm pitching, so it's fine. And I don't have it all written down. I don't want it to escalate too much to where it seems like it's a low blow or too much, but it's basically going to be Batman to some extent being like, I have to like basically questioning like I have to question her motives on this. Marrying Superman and writing a book about him, I have to question her motives about it. To which point
She's trying to get a reality show.
To which point we cut back.
Wags, man, wags. You know what I mean?
To which point we cut back to Superman now for real.
Right,
and
right.
he's done playing the bumbling Clark, and it's the glowing red eyes thing.
Oh.
And he's like, don't
Say
do this.
something about
don't,
my lady again.
Don't do this, right? And then it's going to be the next frame of Lois jumping in between them, pushing them apart, turning to him and being like, listen, I get that the dark, the cave and the Bowery and the blackness and the anger and this, that works for you. That's not what Clark is. Clark is inspiration. I'm writing this book because someday everyone needs to know about him. When he dies, people aren't going to need to know that he was this god that stopped the sun and knocked out Darkseid and did all these different things. They're going to need to know that he was a normal man who rose above his circumstances to be better, and that's what people need to know. They need to know Clark. They need to know what he was about, right? And she's like, and God forbid if that day comes sooner than later, my son needs to know his father. And so like that's I'm tinkering obviously of like why, but like I think that works for like again because she could be blinked out of existence. He could die. You know what I mean? Like in a moment that could all happen and somebody needs to have told the story of who Superman really fucking was.
Yeah.
And I obviously need to finesse that, obviously.
No, I like that.
But that needs to click for Batman, and I'm not sure how to do that. But clicking for Batman will just be like, all right, let's look at let's look at the computer, and they go to the computer and try to track it back, and it's turned out that it's all bounced all over the place. I'll look at computer technology and names why, but
People download it on Kazaa.
They can't, no, it's not out. It's not
Napster.
out. No, it's not out. Nobody's made contact, so it's been taken, but nobody knows by who or by what, right? And so it's bounced all around. He can't get a signal on it. He'll keep looking on it. Blah blah blah. They go back to Metropolis, and this is again now. I'm missing a beat in this midsection.
I want you to know.
Yeah.
I'm so in this.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay,
that I'm
good.
just like, what's happening? Like,
Okay.
I'm trying to get ahead of it.
I
Like,
don't know
who is
why.
it? Who's
Right.
behind this?
Right.
This is good. This is good. Keep going.
No, it's fine,
It
it's
was
fine.
the kid. It was
Graffiti kid.
Cool Greg.
There's so many options in my head. Keep going. Keep going.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I'm missing some next event, next beat. I haven't sit down and outlined everything, right? But Lois gets a message. Lois and Clark get a message on the same computer, right? Of like, we need to talk. You know what I mean? Don't bring police. Come to probably the top of the Daily Planet, but that doesn't make any sense how the fucking person's gonna get up there. But I'll figure it out wherever they want to meet. And so it's.
I'm listening. I'm writing some notes.
I know. Oh no. It's Superman and it's Lois, and they're standing there or whatever, right? And yeah, this kid walks up, and it's like, did you play? And it's not gonna be her, but this is the vision I have of her. Did you play Batman season 2 yet for the Telltale game?
Oh nah,
It's fine.
the walking simulator is not really for me.
Get out of here. But it's I see it
Press
being
A
like
now.
Lucius Fox's daughter. Like it is not Lucius Fox's daughter, but that look, right, of that person. I'm a teen. I'm this African American girl. I have this computer.
I'm fly.
I'm fly. I was and she walks up and she was like, "Hey," and like Superman's doing the red eye thing, and Lois like, "Don't do the red eye thing." Anyway, she went.
you
She
don't
wa-
want me to- oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. She walks up and she's like. And again, none of this dialogue's finalized. I haven't written this scene or even started writing this scene. But basically, it's like, this wasn't on purpose. Like, I had been looking into the arrest of my brother. I needed more info. I know that Lois Lane wrote all the stories about it because she covered the criminal case files. I couldn't get in there. And Lois can be like, well, why didn't you hit me up at the Daily Planet? And she's like, you're the world's most famous reporter. It's kind of hard to get past the front door to talk to you. And so I went in this because I'm a good hacker and da-da-da-da-da. And like, I went and it's gonna be like, you're not a good hacker. You're one of the best in the world if you could. And that's Superman, right? If you can get through the security you had or whatever. But it basically comes down to the fact of like, this wasn't on purpose. She didn't mean to get it. She's in over her head, and she's a good person. And she's like, I'm giving it all back. This is my computer. You can take it, do whatever you want. I'm not looking for trouble. Please don't put me in jail. I'm still trying. And it's like true Superman fashion of like, of course not. Like, tell me about your brother and blah 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 blah. But it's this thing of. She's like, why did you write this? And she's like, well, we did it in case, somebody needs to know one day about who Clark is. And this is, I'm working on it, obviously. But she's like, no, you don't get it. People do need to know this. People need to know this right now. Like, have you looked around what's happening? Like, we're not getting better because he's here. We are leaning more on him. We are thinking he's a god. Like, we need help. We need Clark Kent. And like, that's obviously not word for word or anything like that, but they break away, right? And it is back to that kitchen table, and it's just them sitting there with their coffees, like the computer in front of her, thinking about it or whatever, right? And so then that's my ending to this book, because I'm not thinking of a sequel or anything like that or whatever, is Lois drafting again on her computer, drafting, right? And it's her writing an email to her publisher. I'm like, I think I have a book you're going to want to publish, and like hit send, and that's the end.
That's cool because it makes you want to read the book within the book.
And see, the idea for me for that gets pulled out of the same way of like, whenever I'm reading a Superman comic and Lois is narrating the story and I get the little LL boxes and stuff, I can tell that it's being written as if she was writing it like a reporter, but like, where would she be filing the stories? And so the undercurrent to this, of course, isn't that there's just the 2 stories she's put in it. It's that she's been chronicling their entire life. And I'd bring that up and talk about it. So every Superman story she's ever told you in a Superman story, you'd imagine would be in this book as well, with the behind the scenes, like,
Cool.
And so like, there would be like, I'm sure there'll be a table of contents at some point that will reference the real fights and stuff that have happened, right? But this is the definitive edition from the man's wife of like what it was like to live with Superman and what Superman is and who Clark Kent is.
Dope as fuck, man.
And so I just want, like, it's telling
Nice.
us, like, yeah, it's this
Nice.
lots.
Let's
Thank
go.
you, thank you. Lots to figure out in there. Lots and months of work probably in front of me because I don't want to like
I was
drop
there,
off
man.
kind
We
of
all-
funny to go
we were
right.
all there, man.
But like that's the kind of that's my Superman, right? That there is a human there behind the S, and he's just trying to make all life better. And he's coming to do something.
What are y'all talking about?
What I missed.
Hey guys, I just woke up. What's going on?
No, I really like that. I like that you're playing around with humanizing him. I like that you're playing around with like him, his self doubt, and what that potentially the power in that, right? The power of showing that to the world of like maybe it's more powerful that he is a human who just has these extra abilities. Well, I mean, but he's still fallible.
One of the best moments for Superman, I think, that totally gets ignored, and of course, as soon as episode 2 rolls around, it's not even a thing anymore. But in Superman the animated series, there's this beautiful moment where he's got the cape and tights on for the first time, and there's a plane crashing, and he flies up on it, grabs the wing, tries to stop it, and the wing rips off. And he just goes, "Nice job, Clark," and then shoots back off. You know what I mean? Because it is like such a, like if I suddenly had powers, how the fuck do I stop a plane? I don't know. And you try to figure it all out.
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea thematically that you're playing with as far as like telling the other stories. I wonder if there should be like a B plot of something that he has to deal with, a big thing he has to deal with, and we're seeing that thematically play out through that. Yeah. You know, like if he has to get pulled away from these interviews for something, or if there is another plot of like Lex Luthor's doing something, and he has to make those hard decisions. We see him having to make those hard decisions, and as he's learning, we're also seeing thematically as he tells these stories, and hopefully 3 beats, right? With the graffiti kid, for instance, where like he thinks he ruins his life, and maybe at the end he actually did, and he set him on the straight and narrow, and just by I don't know if we check back in with him, and he apologized to me, goes, "Fuck you," because what's that?
Is he the brother or no?
Doesn't need to be. I mean, that could happen, yeah. But I also think it could be a cool thing as a callback to issue 1. And she's like, when's the last time you checked in on him?
Yeah, so
the graffiti guy, never. I don't know.
I think he should have checked back with him and realized that maybe he set him on a course that was bad, and then check back with him a 3rd beat. And realize that, and doing that, and in saying I'm sorry,
because it would be the same thing of like us when we got in the drone, pissed off our neighbor, right? Of going back over there and be like, "Hey, I was wrong," and like Superman can do that too, right? The next day, come back and like, "Hey," kind of put the fear of God in you on that one.
I think it would be fascinating to see if you checked back with him, like, so that's at the very beginning, right? Midway through when he's been mulling it over for a long time. It's been eating at him. He goes back, he finds the kid, but the kid's in jail or whatever. Yeah. And he goes, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm wrong." And the kid's like, "What the fuck do you want me to do about it right now? Like, you terrified me. I have an abusive past. I've been like, everyone in my fucking life has done this to me. And you you were the one that I looked up to, and you fucking, like, you did this to me, so fuck you." And then Superman's like, "I'm sorry." And they have that unfortunate beat. And then later it comes back in, and just for having done that, sets the kid on the right. By saying, "I'm wrong, I did something wrong," the kid realizes, holy shit, even Superman can do something wrong. Sure. And then we save that. That was note 1. Note 2, you got to save that reunion with the wife for the end. That has to be him making him like forgiving himself and going there and seeing her and realizing that she has a kid maybe that's grown up now. Sure. That maybe she was pregnant when that happened, and he saved both their lives. Couldn't save the dad because you can't save them all, but at least she got to spend her entire life with this kid. Something like that, right? No, that's good. But like I just imagine the last closing panel is him walking on the ice, and like the kid, or like maybe it's springtime or whatever. Sure. No ice, and they're at the lake or whatever. I don't know how you're gonna tie that together visually.
No, I like the ice. The ice,
right? And they're there, and she's putting the flowers down, and he puts the flowers down and looks over, and she's there with him or something like that. Yeah, and you don't say anything.
That's cool.
Maybe add a tornado with the truck that he could definitely save his dad, but then have him not save his dad. Or not.
Don't do it.
Dad, this is the stupidest thing ever. Like, I'm going to come get you, all right? I'm Superman. I'm really fast. Really fast.
Also, the kid that works at the IHOP knows exactly who I am already. I'm pretty sure he told everyone.
Yeah. His entire town knows I lifted a school bus as a 7-year-old son.
Yeah, pretty sure everyone knows.
I love it. I think I like that there's like the whole thing is one story, because even with American Alien, which I absolutely love, and I get that it's a bunch of parts of a whole, I like that this has more of a narrative
thread to it of like Superman.
And I love what Nick's saying about having a B plot that does the whole.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is B plot, right, was red herring, throw people off the scent of like Lex Luthor's doing something, clearly he's up to something, we think it's him, oh shit, it's not him, who is it really? Oh, it's not the person you expected, it's this other person who's like, "Hey, sorry, I fucked this up royally. Like, what do you want to do?" But because he was so scared the entire time and analyzing that as his own fear, and be like, "Oh my God, what happens? What happens?" You got to give him that space to freak out on and learn something from.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is, like, keep in mind, like, the beats I'm giving you aren't. There's a lot more shit in there, obviously, right? Like, and just for somebody at home, like, it's not, the things I told you, and then we go right from.
Sure. There'll be more to it. You're giving us the top level beats.
Yeah, and not to Spider-Man 3 this. But
put Venom in it.
I love
emo Spider-Man.
What you're talking about with the B plot of like throwing it off the scent. Like earlier when I cut you up and I was just like, I'm in this and I'm thinking about who it could be. It's like, I think that you should include like the B plot being it could have be a whole bunch of these different people.
That's what he's talking about, right? He should be. That's a great idea. That he's hitting up
everybody who would be able to do this, and it is Brainiac, and
mean,
so he's
even
like going back to
thematically-
the fortress and seeing what's happening there. Like,
Or I mean that's the other thing too is you could play around with what I like about this is that we're revisiting past and learning from them, right, and showing the mistakes and showing these different things. So like visiting people that he's already put in jail, these super villains that are there, and being like, tell me what you've done, and they're like, you put me here, man. Like I haven't done shit, and like not like just having to look at himself and being like these like going back and revisiting all those moments of good and bad things that he's done,
Yeah.
and then coming out and being like maybe it is good that I show people who I really am. Like
Sure.
maybe I've learned that I'm actually a good person. Me being here is good by revisiting these moments. Like maybe I should put that name out there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I think
Interesting.
he's right. It's a great story.
Thank you.
Yeah,
A lot of
You know
work.
what it feels like? It feels like Superman, like an indie movie, a little
Sure.
bit. Like the beginning of it, very intimate. Like if you were to shoot it.
Well, that's been my whole thing, right? Of like, I feel like
Like a diary.
I mean, you'd have these
The Diary
amazing
of Superman.
moments, but it really is just that intimate character, character.
and that's
dynamic between
why I
them
want
both.
I don't want it to be at all like you read through. There's not fight scenes, right? There's like him
Mm-hmm.
pulling things out. It's him getting. I mean, there's gonna be fantastic him flying and the eyes.
I
and
mean,
stuff.
this is the thing,
But
like,
it's,
there will
hey,
be-
I'm coming back from fighting
Right.
Black Manta. And when she's like, you did the. I think he's like, it's day 2. I had just gotten done whatever in this world Superman revealed himself to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Diary of a Mad Clark.
there you go. There you go. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, being Clark Kent. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's really good.
Thank you. So
keep
we got a lot
going.
of work to do, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. So I'll keep you guys posted, obviously. The comic show, I'm sure that's going to be the most fascinating thing about Greg's Comic Book Club. We're doing a Patreon exclusive show, patreon.com/kindafunny for $1 every month, talking about required reading and then everything else I read and whatever else the guest press and yada yada. But it'll also be checking in and
Updates
talking
and
about like
stuff.
what I'm doing and where this is at.
Very
and blah,
cool,
blah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When y'all, when you guys air this, the actual panels will be coming up. And
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that I mean, like, it's not only
I'll
Nick's
draw some
journey
of
of comedy. This was also very much I wanted to do this topic because of Nick's conversation way back in the day about what he envisioned the cartoon to be.
Yeah,
when you
animated
pitched
series.
the first episode of the animated series, long before we were ever going to do it, right? Like,
what
you
kind of
pitched it.
style you think? I draw like
for
an-
art?
Yeah.
Uh,
like a Jim Lee or like a.
Yeah, I mean, I would love that if I can get Ryan Otley on the phone and be like, "Hey, do this," or Andre. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of people you can tap into, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I think a lot of people want to tell a story. It'd be fun. That's going to be part of the cool journey for you too. Is like, one of the things I love reading is obviously like I'm a film nerd. I just subscribe to American Cinematography, which is literally a trade magazine that's written from the perspective of cinematographers, not directors, not writers, not actors, the people that literally lens the film, like shoot the film. And what I love is seeing how they tell the story with their specific tool set, right?
Yeah.
And that was what you're talking about when you bring the artist to the table of like,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to worry so much about panel for panel. Obviously, if there's panels that you need to have in there for
Yeah,
specific purposes, but it'll be cool to see where that script goes, and then you put it in the hands of someone who knows
Yep.
what they're doing with books,
Yep.
and they go, okay, cool, and then they bring their eye to it, and they lens that.
Comics are collaboration. Yeah,
It's gonna be fun.
yeah. I'm looking forward to
Real
it.
fun. That was part of the process of the animated show as well, where I was like, oh, cool, like I get to see
Yeah,
what
that's a cool style, by
how
the
my
way.
words translate in your head to
random
your
people
hand.
doing
It's
stuff.
random.
Yeah, it's cool.
fucking
Yeah.
weird.
Nick, what's your topic?
My topic is gaming disorder. There was an article
Dun, 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 dun.
that came out.
So that's a real thing now.
It's a real thing, apparently.
Holy.
We're gonna be the final word on that right now.
Our MD hats are on. We'll decide if this is.
This is an article. It was been written up everywhere, but the one that you linked to and you talked to on Games Daily
I'm listening.
was IGN.com or Egan.com, however you want to say it.
Egan.
Egan. Thank you. World Health Organization lists 2 gaming-related health disorders. This is from Joe Scribbles. It says the World Health Organization will list gaming disorder and hazardous gaming as health disorders in its International Compendium of Diseases. Part of the WHO's first major update to the compendium since 1992, gaming disorder is listed as an addictive behavior alongside gambling, while hazardous gaming is a pattern of gaming behavior, quote, that applicably increases the risk of harmful physical or mental health.
They'll get there in a second. Hold on. Joe's gonna explain more.
There you go. The results of both disorders, as described, have received mass media attention in the past, and this categorization appears to be an attempt to allow for easier diagnosis and treatment. Gaming disorder could well be seen as linked to controversy around loot boxes and what constitutes gambling and gaming. Hazardous gaming is reminiscent of causes where individuals have died after extreme gaming sessions. Both disorders are currently part of the draft of the compendium update, meaning their specifics could change before publication. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, a separate compendium of strictly psychological disorders, does not currently list the gaming disorder, calling it only a condition for further study. I saw another article on this that called it an addiction. as well.
Well, that's what they're playing into, right? I mean, I think.
But I
that's
saw
the
one that
point.
spelled out in no uncertain terms, like, is gaming an addiction? So that's my question for you guys: is like, how does this news sit with you, and what do you think about this? Is this something that people should be aware of? Are we bordering on addiction for people? Are we giving people products that we know are addicting?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, good topic.
I mean, I know that's what we talked about on
One,
Games
we
Daily,
did it,
right?
right.
I think when this came out, a lot of not industry people, but forums and stuff, people bristle, right? And it's always that thing of like when you bring up violence in games or anything in games that could be portrayed in a negative way, people bristle at it. But if we're going to sit here and this year, or 2017 was the year of having the honest conversation of are loot boxes gambling and is this taking advantage of people with addictive behaviors, I think you can't sit there and not turn that lens over to gaming. And I think that, there are people who have died from sitting there and gaming too long and ignoring everything.
Those are rare outliers, though.
100%. I agree. But
It's not like 1 out of every 10 person who plays a game drops. It's
you want to
not like cigarette smoking.
Let's fucking play solitaire tonight, see who dies. You know what I mean? Like,
Ride the lightning.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not die, but I feel like that
Solitaire
if there was
roulette.
other research done, I'm sure there'd be a more significant stat about how it affected their lives negatively.
And that's what this
way or
talks
that
about
way.
too,
Yeah.
right? It becomes harmful to the point where it could be potentially negative, have negative side effects to your life.
Yeah,
right?
I mean everything has effect, right? So when you do something, and the more you do it, that means you have less time to do other things and pay attention to things. And it's like it's on each person to understand their levels of understanding of themselves to how much they can commit to a certain thing. But it is weird to think about how much that you have that drive to play a game, to do something. Like a perfect example is Disney Emoji Blitz, which we did the commercial and I started playing it. I'm addicted to that game now.
Yeah.
Like totally addicted. And a big part of that is because Gia started playing it. Like I played for a while and I stopped. I'm like, I'm just wasting my time doing this. Like there's no value here. None.
No trophies.
And then there is trophies. They're
Not for PSN.
There's no platinum. But there's trophies.
Not for
But Gia started playing it, and then it turned into a competitive thing between us, where like she was a higher level than me, and I was like, "Fuck that shit." So I started doing it, but now we're at a point where it's just like your lives get refreshed every hour, and every hour I'm thinking, I'm like, I can get some blitz in. I can get some blitz
Dude,
in.
I was
And
at-
it's like it's a problem. It's not good.
No. I know what the cure is. Kids.
Yeah. That's what they tell me. That's why I haven't had any of those little
Mischief
monsters
and
yet.
mayhem. My two kids.
There it is.
They like destroy my gaming time, man. I don't get. I was playing Xenoblade, and the girl with the big breasts came out. Which one was that? All of them. All of them.
Every Xenoblade character.
No. But dude, I can't even play it because there's so many things that you got to do with each, blade or whatever, and so I just had to go.
But do you
back.
believe that do you believe in this, that the gaming is an addiction,
Yeah,
hazardous
because
gaming?
if I didn't have
gaming
kids,
disorder?
I probably would actually have a beard instead of a baby
Sure.
beard because I'd be just there,
Just that's it.
doing it. If I had nothing but time, I mean, as an adult, once you, make money to pay your bills, if I could just sit there and play, man, I probably, yeah.
It's interesting for me because obviously, like, I'm the least. I play the least amount of games probably in this entire office, and that's pretty fair to say. And it's not because I don't enjoy games; it's because I do have an addictive personality, right? If you're wondering if I'm playing this up, no, watch me add things to my Netflix queue for 3 hours every night and tell me that I don't get addicted to just the organization of not even watching the movies, just like, hey, I really like just interacting with this platform like this because there's a bunch of options, none of which are very good, but I like to know all the options. Like I'm the guy that goes to
do that
HBO
with
Go
YouTube.
every day and goes, I need to know what's at the end of the all movies list. But once I started doing comedy and like started doing things at night, I had to then start prioritizing of like, I can't play or watch 2 to 3 hours of movies every night because I need to be in an open mic until 9 o'clock. And then when I come home, I got to eat. And then I'm just kind of tired. And really, I try to go to bed by midnight. So I only have like an hour and a half of free time to play with. And that's when I have to choose movies or games, and movies shut my brain off. So I usually pick those. But I am very aware, like when I'm playing a game, because obviously it behooves the game designer to make the experience addicting to you, right? To give you those beats of because they literally are designing it, right? They're designing it so that it keeps you going to the next level.
Well,
and
it's
you
their
feel like you're
job to
achieving
make
something.
the tedious tasks that you have to do over and over and again something that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's just by making the fucking screen explode with like a level up thing. It's like, oh shit.
Oh, dude, I was so
just
happy
need-
when I
need
got
5 more of those things,
Right.
whatever those things are. Every
when I got
game
my
has
first
this to some
moon
extent.
and
Mario, yeah.
Odyssey, man.
I need more of that.
Dude,
I need
more.
998
Dude,
times of that.
every time you got it, I got the moon music. And,
Yeah.
and he goes like, yo.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I got that fucking moon. You know?
Seeing a purple engram drop in Destiny 2, you're like, fuck yeah, let's see what
Yeah, that's
get an
true.
exotic one. Woo.
Oh, dude, I can't.
Yeah, but I'm right there with
Kids
you,
kept
right?
me from Destiny 2. I can't.
Well, now you got Greg.
Because it's like, because I would go, you try to go on there, right? And then, you got to get off because of the kids. You come back the next day, they done jumped up
Everyone's
like
a million
20
levels.
So now you just like holding the coats in the corner because your guns ain't strong enough to. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go.
Hold my cloak. I got to take these guys down.
Dude, I'm like, I don't want to. Come on, we getting on Destiny. I'm like, dude, I'm like 10 levels lower. I'm not holding y'all coats tonight, man.
Yeah.
So now you got to try to find, and then I don't have no friends, so you got to find somebody with a lower enough
But
level.
see, isn't that like? But think about that, right? Think of the psychology right there, right? Is it like for some people it turns them away? For other people it goes, oh fuck, I gotta put more time into this platform, otherwise I'm gonna be left behind. And so that right there is like just that feeling, that fear of missing out feeling, is a very powerful tool to keep you coming back to these experiences. And again, I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. I think you hit the nail on the head right at the beginning, where it's like you got to really be aware of it and prioritize your time like an adult, like an adult human being. And I think for the most part, people can.
But that's where disorders come in, right? Where there are people who can't, whether it's gambling or drinking or something. And that's why there are probably people who can't prioritize or can't do that with gaming, that it is too good.
I think it's important no matter what it is, whether it's video games, sex, drugs.
Too much of anything is a bad thing.
You should always be, when you're doing something,
Except for
LaCroix, when you're doing something, you need to stop and ask yourself, am
That's
I
a
doing
siren
this too
here.
much? Is
That's
there
a
something
siren
wrong?
here. You do.
Do I have a problem?
Yeah.
And if I have a problem, what do we need to do about it? And it's like, I think that's important for everybody to ask
Tim, this
themselves.
topic's actually an intervention for
I
you.
understand.
And your I apologize, guys. It's
That
time
is
to talk
quite
to him about
clear.
the real
That
problem.
is
and his
quite
mom
clear.
coming
They just walk in with Diet Cokes and they just put them in front of you like, switch.
Yeah, he cries like that guy on that one intervention show where he was
That's
like,
every intervention.
I never learned how to read. Nobody taught me how to read, so I love LaCroix.
But no, I mean, like so you were saying it seemed like, do you agree with this? Do you
I
believe this?
do.
Okay.
But that's the thing is I want people, like as I try to learn more about nutrition, as I try to learn more about working out and being healthy and things like that, I'm aware of it as well, in foods where it's like Oreo cookies are a perfect example. I could sit and eat an entire bag of Oreo cookies, like the whole 3-ring
Sure. Oh,
Oreo
yeah.
cookies, right? I can easily do that. And I know I can easily do that because at least twice that I can remember in the last year, I have done that.
which ones?
Just
Any
straight
of
up
them.
Oreo cookies.
Any Oreo cookies?
Just regular
Normal Oreo.
and pretty
Peanut
much
butter
everyone,
ones you
right?
like a lot
You
too.
know
don't
those Oreo cookies with the white fudge? The devil made them cookies.
But I don't know what they do to these
So
cookies. I don't know if
delicious.
it's by design or just the natural makeup of the sugars they put in these things. But for whatever reason, it doesn't trigger that thing in your brain that goes, "I'm full. I just want to keep eating them."
Well, 'cause they're just
keep eating
empty.
them, right? They are. I mean, it's all sugar, so
Yeah.
your body's like, yeah.
Yeah,
They crash,
keep
crash,
going.
yeah. But I think it's because you're not getting any real nutritional value out of them, and your body goes, I still need more. I still need more of this stuff. But I became aware as I was like the last time I did this, I'm like, oh my god, this food is literally like designed to keep me fucking eating.
Wow.
I don't think it's a grand conspiracy. I just think they're like, let's just put sugar in this thing, and that's what sugar
Yeah.
does to you. But so I try to become aware of when I'm doing that because I still have a problem eating, right? I used to be really, really overweight. I used to when I encounter these types of experiences, I try to use that past knowledge of going, wait a minute, you need to take a step back from yourself right now and really realize what you're doing and this process, this cycle you're stuck in. Sure. And I've been there with video games too, where I've sat and been like, why does my back hurt? And then you look at the clock and you're like, oh fuck, I haven't gotten off the couch in 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like that time my back went out on me.
Dude.
When and y'all make fun of me still for it.
You didn't make fun of you.
Kevin did.
They did make fun.
Maybe
That moment was too real to make fun of.
that was a
Oh,
brutal
no.
moment. But that part of the reason why that had happened was because I had sat like for a week straight and played a game and didn't realize that I needed to get up and move around and like stretch. And I just feel like an asshole when I'm at home too. Like I put my feet up and I have short feet, so I don't get like I don't like lean this way.
This is
I
different
thought
than
it was
addiction.
from fucking.
No, what I'm saying is I get where that comes in. I get where that it's never from fucking. It's never from fucking. I should be so lucky. But I understand the process. I understand that like if it's a good game, that's part of the thing, right? And if it catches you and you're predisposed to that, or you have the psychological like makeup that's going to like, hey, I'm gonna get addicted to this thing. I totally get it. And I definitely think it's maybe something similar to cigarettes that creeps up on you over the long period of time, right? And that's my fear when
Where it becomes a habit.
Well, it's a habit, but then you look back 6 years later or 10 years later and go, fuck, I've played a lot of games. But maybe I haven't done anything else for myself that is furthering me in these other areas. Maybe I'm a little depressed because of that.
But see, my argument would be like, I totally believe you can get addicted to anything, and it's like it even like
it's my fourth cup of coffee today. So yeah, you're 100% true.
But even the comedy, even
you got the,
working out, it's like those are the type
shit.
of things when it's like, why do you do comedy? It's like you're not going to get addicted to the comedy, but being addicted to being on stage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, getting addicted to the need to perform, the
get that
addicted
laugh.
to the need to work out, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like a good thing, but then there is a threshold where that'll start affecting your life. And
it's
it's like
case in point, people start using steroids. Like, I really want to get bigger, I want to get better, and
Totally.
and that because those can have
and
adverse
that's why I
effects.
think with all of this, you need to stop and ask yourself, like, do I have a problem with whatever the fuck it is that
Well,
I'm
that's
doing?
a hard thing to do, though, right?
It is.
And
It's
that's the
very
thing.
hard.
I've been around addicts. I know addicts.
Did they have an age limit, or they were just saying people in general?
People in general, I think.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure it starts young because now every single kid gets a phone at the age of like 4, and there's mobile. You know, they just start getting into that process of like, this is real life through the screen, right? And so,
Oh, my son has iPad Pro.
Hell yeah.
He's always on there playing
but that's great though, because then you can do a lot of things.
Because you can write on
Draw
there. So
and write and stuff,
I figured he could practice writing
Sure,
on
that's
there.
cool.
But dude, he's addicted to candy. Let me explain.
Be careful about that.
He's so addicted to candy. This dude made Play-Doh, like got some Play-Doh and made like a Skittles bag out of Play-Doh.
I can get
And a
you gotta
Nerds
be
bag.
Make sure
And
you get some edible Play-Doh, or else that could end
This is
poorly.
the thing
Dude.
that terrifies me though, and this is like one of the reasons why I'm not glad that I don't have kids, but it's like a kind of like I don't have to worry about that. Thank God, is because I had a conversation with my friends once where he was like, I bribe my kids with candy. Like when my kids don't want to do something, I have to give them. They want candy. It's a
Yeah.
negotiation. I'm like, you shouldn't do that because obviously for obvious reasons, like
But
processed
yo,
sugars that terrible for you. There's
Man, but
links to
my
all sorts of.
my son learned how to use the potty in one day because we got him a gumball machine, and we said if you sit on the
motivated.
potty, he'll get the gum, and he learned in one day at 3 years old.
That's terrifying to me, though.
It's horrible.
But I
He's
talked to
got
my
a
friend,
cavity now, and
he well, that's the problem, right? I talked to my friend and I was like, you shouldn't do. I mean, this is me. I don't have fucking kids. I don't know how hard it is when a kid wakes. Like you have this kid constantly that has this endless stream of energy. You're like, just give him whatever the fuck it takes to shut him up.
Yeah.
But my friend's like, look, you don't understand. Like you don't get what it's like. You don't understand how hard it is. And sugar is like the only thing that like because it's so powerful to a
gave him
little
the
kid's
taste?
brain. Yeah, it's a little. Just put it in the gums.
When I
you
was
know?
back in Chicago, I went and hung out with my friends who have a kid, and Jen and I were hanging out, and this kid is
That's
I
funny. You
think
should put that in.
1.5, maybe 2 now,
like that.
but super eloquent and can talk to you and can do all this stuff and eats all his veggies and we're like, what the fuck did you do? Like, and they're like,
Googled it, man.
they're like, yeah, we never baby talked him. Like, we talked sweet to him, but we never baby. It was always like, oh, blah, blah. And we, like, you go up, but you're not like baby talking. So we talked in full sentences. It was never mama or this. It was like, hey, mom's doing that or blah, blah, blah. And then it was also the fact that, we didn't give him sugar. I guess he's 2 because we didn't give him sugar till the first 1.5 years. And we didn't let people give him. So he never knew what he was missing. He never knew that he
yeah,
wanted
well, I
it.
mean, we don't let him. They don't drink any juice.
That was another thing. Yeah.
Only chocolate milk.
Look, every once in a while,
They can get their 2 cups of chocolate milk a day. The rest has to be water. We cut the candy off, but he is addicted to it.
Well, don't take
Like, he
parenting advice from
loves-
me.
Dude,
Because I'm
no.
still a giant child myself, so take all of this with a grain of salt. I don't know what it's like.
Dude,
having
I
kids.
wish we could. I mean, we give them a certain amount.
Yeah.
We give them luckily, my youngest daughter doesn't really. She's not really into sugar like that, and so that's good.
That's good.
For his ass.
I wish I could go back and slap the sodas out of my mom's hat. Like,
Jen
I'm like, dude,
terrified
are you
me.
gonna grow up to be Willy Wonka or something? Like,
Jen terrified me the other day because she was
nightmare.
like, when we have kids, you're gonna have to eat beans. You're gonna have to eat chili. You're gonna have to eat whatever I make because we can't tell them they can't be picky, and then you be super picky. And I was like, well, guess what? No
I
kids.
feed my.
that's why you get a dog.
We feed our kids
Yeah, and you
straight.
feed
Porty
junk
can eat
food.
whatever he wants.
We're like, why is Porty gaining 5
We're
pounds a
horrible
week?
parents. I'm asking for help, guys. It's bad. They eat like crap, but they do eat their fruits And then when I make like string beans and stuff, he eats the string beans.
Well, it's just fucked up, right? I mean, just
that once a month when I
in
make
general, that like we have a society
You do
that
it though. That's what matters.
But we have a society that allows like the mass marketing of all this shit to kids, right? Like if you like, I remember I watched a documentary. I think it was called That Sugar Film, one of those, where they were talking about like how they looked back at research of how cigarettes were originally marketed to people, and like how they were marketed to kids,
With
and tried to
cartoons
get
and
them
stuff.
in cartoons at a young age. And like if you remember, like there was always cartoons where people were smoking cigarettes. That was by design. And then the sugar companies were like, oh, we can implement that same thing and start marketing it. That's why like every cartoon you ever watch is like Gushers, like right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And
Why
then
every
McDonald's
cereal
with
has
the-
a cartoon character.
Every cereal has a cartoon character,
Dude, I
and
was
why
addicted.
every single time at checkout, there's always
candy
candy
right
bars
there.
there.
Always a
because
kid
kids
I used to
at
smoke
eye
too.
level, the kids looking at the fucking
Yeah.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
I used to smoke too, man. Cigarettes. And
Terrible.
it was it was affecting my voice. And then that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get off of these cigarettes.
Heroin.
Then I realized
Black
heroin
tie,
was the answer. and now I'm
A little
good.
cocktail of heroin.
This podcast's almost over. God damn it! I need a.
I need my fix. But what I realized was it become a habit.
Oh, yeah.
There was specific times that I loved to smoke, and then it was the ritual of taking out the lighter, lighting the cigarette, because
sound.
technically that first puff was awesome. The rest tastes terrible.
Terrible.
So it was just a habit. So I was like,
It's
I
that
had
first
to really
gush of nicotine into your
Yeah.
bloodstream. You're like,
and I right after a meal, you know what I mean,
or in the morning, or
in the
before a
morning,
meal, or
first
during a
thing in the
meal.
morning.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was
Cigarette
a
and a
ritual of
taco.
pulling.
I mean, there were times like when I smoked. First off, I think there's not a day that goes by that I still don't think about smoking. That's the sad thing. And I've talked about this before, but every time I smell cigarette smoke, it's amazing to me that I could have two very distinctly polar opposite feelings. One of which is that's disgusting, and then
Yeah.
literally as I'm having that feeling, I'm like, I wonder if he has another one for me. Right?
Yeah.
I want
Kevin
one.
Quell.
That was the
Nutshell
other thing
to
I
me.
hated too, because your hands would smell.
No, they
and-
stink, right?
and
Well, I
that's
mean, my
not
sense of
sexy.
smell is pretty much gone because I smoked for so long, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, it's a thing I think about. I think about the times we used to go to the Brisbane office with Ty, and we'd go and have the ritual. We'd get Starbucks, we'd smoke a cigarette, get back in the car, get out, finish the Starbucks, smoke another cigarette, go upstairs, drop our shit off, come down, smoke another cigarette.
Yeah.
Like it was just anytime.
Then
we
it was
needed a break, let's
lunchtime.
go
That
out.
was
My first 3 years of IGN
Yeah.
was literally that what Nick just said, where it was get to work, do the morning meeting, walk outside, you smoke a cigarette, like we talk, we come back in, do a little bit of work, shoot the daily fix or whatever. You look at me, it's about that time.
Yep.
Go out, smoke a cigarette, get lunch, come back. Do some more work.
it was
You want
the
to get some
ritual.
Starbucks? We go to Starbucks. You smoke
Tim,
another
you
cigarette.
never
And I
smoked.
never smoked a single
Yeah.
cigarette.
It was the
I
ritual.
tell you,
It was a ritual. It was a ritual.
And the
Rituals
control,
are addicting.
the control factor that I'm an adult and this is something that
I
I'm
can do
doing,
it.
and
I'm
I'm doing this
nobody-
for myself.
You know what? I know I'm killing myself, but you can't tell me I can't kill
Yeah,
myself.
it's my
So-
God-given right as an American to kill
Exactly.
myself with a cigarette if I want.
Exactly.
I built a relationship with Nick doing the exact same thing. Like the first year of Kind of Funny, like he was smoking again, right?
Yeah. Oh, I had. So I never
Yeah.
quit. Well, I quit a
Well,
little
you
bit
did.
in there.
Yeah,
I was trying to.
And then
quit
after
at that
6
point.
months, you're like, my lungs hurt, and I was like, all right. And then I was able to just quit. And then Cool Greg started working here, and we started smoking again. And then same deal. He was like, hey, I'm having trouble breathing. So I was like, all right, let's
No.
quit. So we quit, and now it's been like what, a couple months now, Greg?
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Is it only weeks?
He's like,
He's a couple months.
It's
No,
been
no,
2
no.
days.
It was our 2018 New Year's
it's been
resolution.
more. It's been like 2 months.
It's been a whole year.
This week, quit.
No, but it's crazy. I mean, that's the thing for anyone out there that thinks that you might have a problem or you might be addicted to something.
Yeah.
Like, please get help because
Talk to somebody.
I'll tell you one thing right now. It's not, especially with cigarettes, right? I can't talk about quitting anything else. I've never really been addicted to any other thing other than I guess food. You don't like. It's not that I feel better on it. It's that I don't think about it anymore. And you can get to a point where you feel that way, right? Because when you're in the middle of smoking, like you'll remember this, with like the thought of kicking that habit, like it's literally like cutting out a family member, or like breaking up with someone you're madly in love with, but you have a bad relationship with. Like you can't imagine your life without that thing, right? And then eventually you get to a point where you're just like, I take breaks, but I get up and get a cup of water, or like what? I just don't think about it anymore.
I mean, it's me and Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Me and soda. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
know how much fucking soda I drink.
love soda.
And it's just like, granted, I'm drinking a lot of sparkling water, but it's water.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like that. This shit, no matter what anyone wants to say, this shit is undeniably 100% better for me than Coke.
Dude, I
would
drank.
agree.
I got off of soda when we first got into the industry because we were only like 17, and soda made you have zits. So that was when I first got introduced to sparkling water, and so I would just pretend that it was Sprite just because of the bubbles.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the point where it tricks me, man. Like, it tricks me, and I've said this a million times on the show, I'm sorry, but like, Coke tastes too sweet to me now. It's like when I have soda, I'm like, I'll still never fuck with diet soda, no matter whatever happens in my life. I won't do it.
It's that aftertaste.
But it's just, there's something about it where it's like, my mouth, if I have a can of Coke, like, I need to wash my mouth out after.
Oh, he has that film.
Yeah, it's just
That's
like,
what's up.
there's like a film, and I'm just like, ugh.
I'm trying desperately to quit artificial sweeteners. So I'm trying not to drink Diet Coke. I'm going to rephrase that in my brain so it's a little bit more of an affirmative statement. Something I've learned over the years. I'm not drinking Diet Coke anymore. Largely because I don't really know what that does, but I want to see how I feel without drinking 2 to 3 Diet Cokes a day. Who am I kidding? 5 Diet Cokes a day. Right? Because I got to a point the other day where I'm like, I literally have gotten to points in the last 6 months where I'm like, have I had water today?
Whoa.
Isn't that a weird feeling?
Bad.
Dude, I drink a lot of water.
Well, that's the thing is I like drinking water, and one of the tools that I'm trying to utilize to get myself to that point is I put the ice in the water now, so I get that sound, that tactile sound of the ice
Put
jingling
the bubbles
around.
in the water.
And
telling
it's
you.
working because now I'm trying to train my brain to crave the ice in the water and that sound of it and the feeling of it in the glass, and then
Like
drinking
Get
it.
Out, and then I go to the sunken place.
Yeah, you go to the sunken place, and then Catherine Keener kind of has her way with you, and you're like, "This is hot."
Yep. Go ahead, do what you want.
Did I miss the point of that movie?
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gabble around this table. Ooh, I screwed it up. If you like that, head over to Patreon to gabble around is what I said. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny where you can get each and every episode early as us really recording it, as late as us just putting it up on Friday the next day. But then a week later on youtube.com/kindafunny, the entire show posts as one big video in MP3 for your listening amusement. No matter where you get the show, thank you for your support. Remember, there is a new hoodie on kindafunny.com/store. You can go get it. It's got the smiley on it. We'll get you one. We'll get you one.
Awesome,
Pre-order
awesome.
right now, but we'll get you one. Don't worry about it. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. SisQo, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you, man.
Always a pleasure. We love
Thanks,
you.
My
guys.
dude, my
See you
dude.
soon.
We'll see you at Kinda Funny Prom. You're not allowed not to come.
I'm not.
Until
I'll hit
next
up Kevin.
time.
We got to figure this out.
Until next time. His Kevin.
His cap.
Yeah, okay. Until next time. It's been our pleasure to serve you. Thanks for watching the Game Over. Fuck, I'm bad at this now. It's a week. It took a year off or whatever. I don't even know. 2018, I'm garbage. Thanks for watching the Game Over Greggy show, everybody. Click here to subscribe. Click here to support us on Patreon. Click here to go to SisQo's channel and watch his music videos. Click down here to see Nick be Nick.